It is a feel-good Friday afternoon on 580 Sports Talk. I am Brendan Dworzinski. Thank you so much for starting your weekend here with me, with us. Spencer Dupuis will be by coming up in the 4 o'clock hour through the rest of the show today. Dan Lucero is currently on assignment. His assignment, it's to golf with his in-laws. He is on vacation. He'll be back coming up on Monday. For right now, it's just you and me. Spencer will join us to wrap up the weekend a little bit later on. We have a jam-packed edition of 580 Sports Talk for you here today. We'll talk plenty of Chiefs here in this first hour of the show. I've got my top 10 of the Chiefs under the most pressure going into 2026 with OTAs going on this week, phase 3 of the OTAs. Saw this actually regarding a different team and thought, well, who are the Chiefs that are facing the most pressure this year? I'll give you my list. I'd love to hear yours as well. That's coming up to lead off the show in just a matter of moments. We'll also talk to Matt Derrick this hour, our Chiefs insider, the best of the best when it comes to covering the Chiefs. You can find his work at ChiefsDigest.com. He'll join us for our Chiefs insider at the bottom of this 3 o'clock hour. We'll also talk a little Royals. There was a piece over at Royals Review today about Bobby Witt Jr. and how good he's been this year. And it really sort of ties in with a point I was trying to make about this team yesterday when it comes to what's next. Where do you go from here with this 22-34 ball club? We'll get to that a little bit later on this hour as well. Plus this week's edition of On Second Thought. Later on in the show today, some college football drama. Folks in the SEC just really can't shut up. They love it more than they love Waffle House, more than they love pretending they weren't paying players before everybody could do it. They just love to talk. And at some point, their mouth is going to write a check that their ass can't cash. And now some folks down in the SEC are taking shots at Big 12 schools. Yeah, sure. Good luck with that. We'll talk about that a little bit and just the never-ending war between rationality and logic and how people within college football view themselves. We'll talk about that in the 4 o'clock hour today. We've also got our championship for the month of May in What Is Wrong With You. The free Wi-Fi free-for-all versus Wade mode. They go head-to-head coming up during the 4 o'clock hour today. Spencer and I have our thoughts on that. We'll get your votes if we need a tiebreaker as well. We'll play Change My Mind at the end of the 4 o'clock hour. We've got our 580 Sports Talk headlines, what's on tap for the weekend. We'll preview Royals Rangers starting tonight. All that and much more coming up on this edition of 580 Sports Talk. We appreciate you listening or consuming the show however you are today, whether it's on 580 AM across this beautiful Sunflower State, here in the capital city on 104.9 FM, online at 580WIBW.com, or of course, in living color on our YouTube feed. That's 580 Sports Talk on YouTube. If you haven't subscribed to the channel, go do it. Why not? We're almost to 1,000 subs. Once we get to 1,000, we're going to do something fun. I was telling our buddy Clayton in the YouTube comments yesterday, we're figuring it out. Dan and I, we're in the workshop. We're thinking. We're in the lab cooking up something good for 1,000 subscribers. We'll do something fun. We're almost there. Got 978. So go check us out on YouTube if you have not already. Thanks to everybody who's already sending in texts to the show. You know the text line number, 785-272-9429. And who's checked in. The marks are both in on the YouTube feed, among others. We appreciate all you guys for hanging out with us on the show today. No Royals baseball last night. Hallelujah. Couldn't lose another game. Had a little college baseball action, college and high school baseball action, actually, that just went final within the last half hour or so. From the prep ranks, Washburn Rural is going to play for a state championship in Class 6A. Junior Blues knocked off Mays earlier this afternoon, 6-2 down in Wichita. So the Junior Blues is going to play for a state championship coming up tomorrow. Have not seen any other prep scores as of late, but as soon as we have some, we will bring them to you. And also KU, if you missed it, the Jayhawks in the first ever regional game at Hoagland Ballpark, the first one ever in Lawrence. The Jayhawks win 6-3, knocking off Northeastern and the Huskies. Great start for Dominic Bagley. And then Bodie Ray comes in, 2-inning save, and the Jayhawks are able to put the Huskies away. KU plays again tomorrow at 5 o'clock. Our very own Spencer Dupuis is going to be covering that game for us at Hoagland tomorrow. We'll get his thoughts on the regional when he joins us later on in the show today. What a story, man. What an incredible story that's been. I'm not going to lie to you and say that I'm always tuned in 100% to what's going on in college baseball. The last time that KU went to a regional and won a game, 2014, that was my freshman year, the spring of 2014. And I don't remember that happening. I'll be completely honest with you. But you jump on the bandwagon with a team when they're playing this well, and they've got a bunch of likable dudes, a likable coach, an incredible environment there at Hoagland. It's still amazing to me that ballpark is hosting a regional. Awesome, awesome stuff. So KU will play again against either Missouri State or Arkansas coming up tomorrow at 5 o'clock. All right, but I told you we're going to talk some Chiefs football here to lead off the show. I saw a piece over at The Athletic this morning, and it was actually about the Green Bay Packers, the 10 players on that franchise who are facing the most pressure going into this year. Not just players, coaches as well. In fact, number one on Matt Schneidman, the writer's list, was head coach Matt LaFleur of the Packers. So I thought, because all sports are local sports, what about the Chiefs? Who are the Chiefs that are facing the most pressure in 2026? Now, this could be pressure for myriad reasons, for performance sake, for the sake of their history, for the sake of, are you going to get a second contract with the Chiefs or anywhere? There's a lot of different kinds of pressure. So if you have any major disagreements with me, I would love to hear about it. Hit us up on the text line again, 785-272-9429. Or you can drop us a line in the YouTube comments. 580 Sports Talk on YouTube is where you can find us there. So I'm going to go 10-1 for my list to break down the guys facing the most pressure for this Chiefs team. And number 10 for me, and maybe this is a little bit controversial, I don't necessarily think that it is. Number 10 for me is Andy Reid. And I will be blunt here. I do not think Andy Reid is in any danger of losing his job. I don't think another year out of the playoffs is going to mean you're having retirement conversations. I don't think he is facing anything like that. That being said, people talk. Andy Reid is not young. He is much closer to retirement than he is to the end of his career. I think Andy Reid is going to go for several more seasons. I think the Chiefs have a real chance to win the AFC West this year, and certainly to go back to the postseason. So I'm not trying to say that it's make or break necessarily for Andy freaking Reid, 3-time Super Bowl champion, winningest head coach for 2 different franchises. I'm not saying anything like that. But given the fact that the offense has not been a high-powered machine for the last couple of years and was almost unwatchable despite putting up good advanced numbers last season, if you go into another year and your offense maybe still isn't able to turn it all the way back to where you expect it should be, if the defense with your hand-picked defensive coordinator, and I like Spags, I don't think he's under a lot of pressure this year, but if the defense doesn't bounce back a little bit after being somewhat mediocre a year ago, people will talk. I'm not saying anything will happen, but that's why he's number 10. I don't think it's a massive amount of pressure, but I do think, hey, people are going to have some thoughts about you if you're Andy Reid. If you do not get back to the postseason, I think the Chiefs are going to get back to the postseason. Again, that's why Andy Reid is at the bottom of my list of the Chiefs with the most pressure. Let's get to the actual players. Kenneth Walker is my number 9 pick on the list here. And just by virtue of not being Isaiah Pacheco, Kenneth Walker is already an improvement in that running back room. I know I beat this drum all throughout the season, so you've heard me express this, and I'm sure you feel somewhat similarly at the very least about this. I really do think the Chiefs had a bottom 5 running back room in the NFL this past year. I mean, the injuries, just not being especially talented, whatever, just wasn't clicking for Pacheco. It was easily the worst of his 4 seasons with Kansas City. Kareem Hunt could do one thing. Spencer and I talked about this on yesterday's show. He could do one thing. If it's 4th and 2, 4th and 1, hand on the ball, he's going to fall forward, get you the necessary yardage. Hey, it's 2nd and 5. Can you run for a first down? No. Wait until it's 4th and short, and then I can take care of it for you. And Brashard Smith, I mean, whatever. A kick returner, weird kind of hybrid scat back role, whatever. Not a huge fan of the usage or also what he was able to produce. Maybe a second year in the system, a little bit more confidence, he'll be okay. This room for the running backs has already taken a huge step forward with DeMercado, with Johnson, the rookie, and of course with Kenneth Walker as the bell cow back. He is getting paid a ton of money. And while it's not my money, obviously. The NFL is different than other sports. I'm thinking baseball, although who knows what the cap situation will look like there, as again discussed on yesterday's show, where, hey, if you want to go to the tax, you want to keep spending money, shoot, just keep spending money. That's fine. The NFL is a little bit different, and paying big bucks to a running back means that those are dollars that can't go elsewhere. So again, this is an improvement. As long as he is on the field, I've seen what Kenneth Walker can do when he is at his best, when he's playing pretty well, even when he's at his, 50% outcome. And it's better than anything the Chiefs had a year ago. So you're already baked in there. But when you get paid a lot of money, the expectation is you're going to play to a level commensurate with your contract. And that is something that Kenneth Walker is going to have to achieve this year. The other part of the pressure on Kenneth Walker, and I don't necessarily think that he is going to struggle doing this, but as we've laid out on the show this week, this is an offense that needs explosives desperately, like as desperately as any team in the entire NFL. And if you're not necessarily going to get a ton of that in your passing game, and previously the only guy as a runner who could do that for you was your quarterback in Patrick Mahomes, somebody is going to have to provide that. That's what Kenneth Walker is here for. I think he's going to thrive for this team. I think if you give him a decent workload, he's going to put up some pretty good numbers. But he got a big contract, and they need to find explosives from him. That's why only ninth, not high on the list, but that's why Kenneth Walker falls ninth on my list here. Eighth Chief with the most pressure this season. I'm going Mansour Delane, and maybe that's a little bit unfair for a rookie cornerback. Maybe that's putting a little too much pressure on him. I am not going to say he's a bust or he's a success or a future all-pro or a future burger flipper or whatever based on how this rookie year goes. Almost certainly nothing could happen that would make me have that strong of an opinion of him going forward. I like the potential. I like the player. I think the selection for the Chiefs made sense, even if I didn't love the process of moving up to get him. But the Chiefs need an impact corner right away. I mean, you lost Jalen Watson. You lost Trent McDuffie. I like Noel Williams. If Christian Fulton's on the field, I think he can be a good player. You bring in Kader Kohu in the slot, that's a nice piece. I think there's a lot to like, but you still need a guy on the boundary who can match up with a one on the other team and make some plays for you. And I don't think that Delane needs to be a rookie like a Derrick Stingley, a Patrick Surtain, a Sauce Gardner, these guys who have come into the league in recent years and just been incredible right off the rip to still be a positive impact player. So this isn't even like, hey, for your own future, you better be great. That's not the situation pressure-wise with Delane. For him, it's just the Chiefs need a corner. They need someone who is going to make an impact. And between him or Noel Williams, in all likelihood, those guys are going to have to be your stoppers on the outside, at least among the young blood. You're looking at this roster going forward. Those are the guys you're leaning on. That's why Mansour Delane, I think, has pressure from a team perspective this year. Number 7, Chief with the most pressure in 2026, Eric Bieniemy. Maybe this is too high, and if so, you can call me out on it. That's fair. Sequels are not often as good as the original. But the Chiefs wanted the sequel here. They were hoping for the Devil Wears Prada 2 and not, give me any other sequel that wasn't nearly as good as the original. Starship Troopers 2. That one sucked, okay? And I love the original, trust me. But the Chiefs are banking on the sequel here with Bieniemy because he went other places. He's worked under other staffs. He had a great year as a running backs coach last year with the Chicago Bears, as we laid out yesterday on the show. We need some new blood and new ideas, but we also want someone who's got some continuity and some familiarity with our program. Let's bring him back in. It's maybe unfair first year back and with your quarterback probably compromised to some degree to start the season, whether he starts week 1 or not. That's a lot of additional pressure I'm putting on him. But the thought is, hey, we want to get back to a top 10 high-flying offense, an explosive offense, one that's going to strike fear in the heart of our opponents. You're the guy who's going to coordinate that group next to Andy Reid, figure it out. Well, that's a lot of pressure to put on someone. And I do think the Chiefs can have that offense this year. I honest to God, believe that. But someone's got to be the one to push it forward, to keep that going. Eric Bieniemy's got to be that guy. He's number 7 on my list. Halfway through at number 6, I've got Josh Simmons here. Josh Simmons was really good last year when he was available. Then there was a large stretch when he's not available. I'm not holding that against him. I don't know exactly what was happening with him. None of us know exactly what was happening that led to him leaving the team for a while. But while he was out there, he was a good player for this Chiefs team. But the pressure comes with the fact that, again, Patrick Mahomes, at least to start the year, probably going to be compromised to some degree. His blind side needs to be protected. That's why I've got Josh Simmons there at number 6. It's got to be good. Just like Jalen Moore, who's my number 5 pick as well. And maybe I should have flip-flopped them. You know, Moore is the guy who's only got one more year in his contract. You never really expected he was going to be a long-term starting tackle answer. But this past year, the weakest link on the Chiefs' offensive line, at least when you had your ideal 5 out there, the guy who was the weakest link was Jawan Taylor at right tackle. And I thought Taylor was fine through his first 2 seasons. You know, a slightly above average starting tackle. Certainly not someone who would get you killed. I won a Super Bowl with him at right tackle, right? But that last year was just not a good year for him, and that happens sometimes. They cut him. We knew they were going to cut him. You move on. Okay, whatever. So Jalen Moore, at least we expect, is going to have that job when we start the season in week 1. Need to improve that spot. It's got to be better than it was last year. Offensive line is a weakest link position group. You're only as good as your weakest link, generally speaking. Go ask Dan about his favorite team, the Super Bowl champion Seahawks. Now, their offense was good in the postseason. It was good against the Rams, funny enough. They put up a bunch of points in the Super Bowl against the Patriots, more than enough to win that game. But in the second half of the year last year, it was not especially productive. Part of that was Sam Darnold. Part of that was a couple different factors. There was one player at right guard, Anthony Bradford, for the Seahawks, who every single team in the NFL game planned for. You can go back. If you're an NFL Pro subscriber or you follow, the tape junkies on Twitter, your favorite tape analyst, all those guys are going to point to, hey, look at the pass rush plan against the Seahawks. It was just attack the right guard. And it created problems for Sam Darnold, a guy who has struggled under pressure over the course of his career. So for the Chiefs, I think this is a line that could be, let me take that back. I think this is an offensive line that will be one of the top 10 in the NFL this year. I think there is a chance this is a top 5 offensive line in the NFL this year. Josh Simmons, we've seen, can be really good. I have all the faith in the world in Humphrey and the 2 guards. That right tackle spot can be good. You can do anything with this offense. But again, you need Jalen Moore to be that guy. If he can be what Jawan Taylor was in Taylor's first 2 seasons in KC, you're golden. Top 5 offensive line, we're good. If not, with a quarterback who's not going to be able to move as much as you normally would hope because of the injury, and Mahomes himself talked about that during the section of his OTA press conference that we heard on the show earlier this week, that right side has got to hold up. That's why Jalen Moore's got some pressure for me. All right, moving on. Number 4 here. We got a lot of pass catchers in the top 4. I've got Xavier Worthy at number 4. I don't need to rehash my overall feelings on Xavier Worthy. You guys have heard me talk about it over and over and over again, so I don't totally need to beat that dead horse. But 2 questions for him are why he's a player facing a lot of pressure this year. Can he stay healthy? Can he stay on the field? Because guys that small have problems staying healthy. I mentioned this the other day. I believe it was either last week or earlier this week. There are not many guys with that size profile who have long and fruitful NFL careers because they get banged up all the time. The most productive guy in recent memory who had that kind of body type was Tank Dell down in Houston, who had incredible rapport with CJ Stroud. And the last time we saw Tank Dell, he was getting folded up into a box like a chaise lounge. And he still has not been able to return. He's had the other off-field things too, which have not helped. Getting shot obviously doesn't help. But that's what happens to little guys. Xavier Worthy got hurt running into his own teammate, and it knocked him out for several weeks when he ran into Travis Kelce. And Trav is obviously a big dude, but that's something you have to worry about more with these smaller guys. So can you stay on the field, and can you do anything more as a wide receiver other than be a gadget guy? I have wanted the Chiefs to add an Allen or a Diggs or somebody else. Before that, it was a Pierce or a Dobbs, before those 2 guys got way too expensive in free agency, because then everybody moves down the ladder a little bit, and Worthy could just be a gadget guy. Jet sweeps, smoke screens, bubble screens, tunnel screens, get it to him in space and let him run. But because he's really got to be your wide receiver 2 for the most part, Thornton's your 3, and really, he's a one-trick pony too as the deep ball guy, you need Worthy to be more than that. I don't know that he can be. I am pessimistic about it, but I hope I'm wrong. But again, with a dearth of talent, you need him to produce more in that role. I've got another pass catcher at number 3. Chiefs facing the most pressure this year. I've got Travis Kelce here. Travis Kelce at this juncture of his career should have a smaller role than he will and then he does. But he can't because the rest of that tight end room is overall not very good. You haven't gotten anything so far to Jared Wiley. I like Noah Gray. Shout out to the diabetic tribe. But he can only do so much. He's not a true inline blocker. He's more of an H-back, really. He's got good feet, got decent hands. But he's not even your primary receiving tight end because that's Travis Kelce. Your wide receiver room is not great. Kelce still has to play a major role on this team. He's got to be in shape. Can't afford to have a 2024 out-of-shape campaign for Kelce here. He's got to be able to make plays down the field, working the seams, working the middle of the field. I would love it for Kelce to take half as many snaps as he used to take, be a more specialized weapon. The Chiefs can't really afford that. And because you don't have any reliability among your other pass catchers, you still need the future Hall of Famer to put up good numbers and to be Mr. Reliable. And that's only getting harder for a dude who's well into his mid-30s at tight end of all positions these days. My number 2 Chief with the most pressure in 2026 is George Karlaftis. This team needs to generate more pressure on the quarterback, and they need to finish their pressures at the quarterback more often. Chris Jones is going to do his thing. He has dropped off slightly. He's still putting up good numbers overall, and he's still one of the more unique players in the league because of how good he is as a pass rusher from the inside. You spend a draft pick on R. Mason Thomas to add some speed. You hope he can give you a little bit this year. Ashton Gelati, he had a good year as an edge setter as a rookie last year as a 3rd-round pick out of Louisville, but you need more from him in the pass rush game. On the interior, I loved the Kairos Tonga signing, but you know what he's not going to do? Get after the quarterback. He has never done it over his multiple stops in his career. He's just not a pass rusher. He's a space eater. He's a block swallower. So George Karlaftis, you paid that money to last year. He has got to make a bigger impact at the quarterback. I like George, but no matter what the secondary looks like, and to a degree, no matter what the linebackers look like, if you're not getting more from that defensive front, this Chiefs defense is going to struggle. It's going to be more in that mediocre tier again. Karlaftis has to be that guy. Like we talked about with Walker, you get paid, that's awesome, but there's an expectation you're going to play up to that contract. Chiefs need that from Karlaftis this year. And rounding it out, my number 1 Chief with the most pressure this year, I've got Rashee Rice, guys. He's wide receiver 1. He's also currently in jail and also rehabbing a knee injury. He has to be great for this Chiefs team. We talked about all the receiver and pass catcher stuff already. He has got to be great, but he's missed time because of problems off the field, because of injuries, and injuries are not entirely your fault, but at the same time, that injury from a couple years ago, he had to get his knee scoped again. He's still rehabbing the knee. Again, he is in jail right now. The off-the-field stuff cannot be ignored. Reliability or lack thereof cannot be ignored. The Chiefs have to have him out there because if you go through a stretch when he is not playing well and suddenly your best receiving option is mid-30s Travis Kelce or Tyquan Thornton, you are in deep you-know-what. Rashee Rice not only needs to get his head on straight and, stay on the straight and narrow as long as possible, he's got to be really, really good. Wide receiver 1 good for this Chiefs team this year. That is why he is number 1 for me on my list of guys facing the most pressure this year for the Chiefs. Let me know your list. Did I miss anyone? Did I get the order wrong? I want to hear from you. Text line number 785-272-9429. You can also hit us up on the YouTube comments. 580 Sports Talk is the name of the channel on YouTube. We're going to take a quick break. We'll get to your reaction, plus a thought on Bobby Witt Jr. right after this on 580 Sports Talk. 3:31 here on 580 Sports Talk on this Friday. Thank you so much for joining us on the program today. Brendan Dworzinski with you. Spencer will join us at the top of the 4 o'clock hour. Matt Derrick coming up here in the next 6 minutes or so. Some listener reaction to the Chiefs under the most pressure this year. Some really good stuff. Looking at the YouTube feed right now. Appreciate you guys and the text line for chiming in as well. Mark H. suggests Dave Tobe should have been on the list. I actually agree with that. If I could have put one more guy in my top 10, made it a top 11, I would have put Tobe there. Historically, a very good special teams coordinator. I have had my problems with Tobe in recent years. The penalties are just mind-numbing at this point for what's supposed to be a well-coached unit, and a unit that gets way more preferential treatment than most teams when it comes to roster decisions on cutdown day. Dave Tobe always gets his guys. I mean, how long have we been talking about that? So, yes, I would absolutely say Dave Tobe certainly deserves a spot on that list as well. Other thoughts we had in here, Mark B was chiming in with a couple thoughts. Mentioned he's got Eric Bieniemy on his list as well. Get the offense running some more play action. Yes. Yes. If you missed any of my talk about the Chiefs play action game or lack thereof, check out the podcast on Spotify from yesterday's show. I am fired up about that in particular. But no, 100% agree with Mark B on that one. He also puts Felix DK Uzama on here. He's got to make significant strides or learn, quote, would you like fries with that? I agree totally. But the reason I didn't put Felix on here is I'm just sort of assuming he's out of the rotation, which stinks. I mean, that really does suck, and I feel bad, and it's such a cool story. KC guy, et cetera, but it has been such a bummer. If he blows up this year and it just took a while to sink in, then hell yeah, great. I am just dubious that that could possibly happen here. We also had this from, I'm trying to get to everybody I can. Bill mentions what we talked about earlier when it comes to the Patrick Mahomes. Like, hey, I'm going to have to stay in the pocket. We heard that when we heard from Pat yesterday. Yeah, that's why those offensive linemen, the tackles in particular, are on this list for me. I'm not worried about Creed Humphrey at center. I'm not worried about Trey Smith at right guard. Frankly, I'm not worried about Kingsley Suamataia at left guard because Kingsley this year or last year was really good. Again, go talk to the tape folks. My guy Nate Tice over at Yahoo, he was on a podcast recently saying, yeah, people don't really talk about it because he was a guy who moved from tackle to guard. But Kingsley Suamataia was not just okay. He was damn good this past year. I'm not worried about the interior with Mahomes banged up. I am worried about those tackles being able to fortify the flanks of that offensive line. So if Moore and Simmons can be good, can be above average, this offense, I think, is going to be just fine no matter when Patrick Mahomes ends up taking the field. This also from Carl before we get to a commercial break regarding the pass catchers and just not having anyone around. So why didn't the Chiefs get better receivers? And Carl, to be blunt with you, I don't know. That's the one thing that is stuck in my craw. And I know I've been, if you have a phrase you like better than beating the dead horse, you're welcome to use it. I'm going to keep using that one because it's the one I know. I know I keep beating that particular dead horse, that you need better pass catchers. You need them. I've been asking for this for years at this point. But the Chiefs, my assumption, my read on the situation is, well, we've got 15 and he can make it work with anybody. So we're just going to let him make it work with anybody. And, we liked Justin Watson, so we'll give him snaps. We liked Hollywood Brown, so he continues to get snaps. Yeah, but what about someone who can just go make a play? 2025, Hollywood Brown was not doing that. The last year of Justin Watson, he was not doing that. Somebody who can still go out and do something, who they're going to get the ball, they're going to make a play. Get someone like that. Draft them higher than day 3. A 4th and a 5th round pick on receivers the last 2 years. I know. I understand. Brendan, shut up. You talk about this every day. I know I do. That's because it's so frustrating that they have not addressed that particular issue. Let's get to another timeout here on 580 Sports Talk. When we return on the other side of this break, we will chat with the great Matt Derrick of ChiefsDigest.com. Told you we'd talk a little about Bobby Witt. We're going to move that to later in the show. Had some great reaction to our Chiefs stuff here. We'll talk to Matt for our Chiefs Insider after this here on 580 Sports Talk. Let's go to Kansas City, where we are joined by the great Matt Derrick of ChiefsDigest.com. He is our Chiefs insider, joining us on the Fleming Place Wine and Spirits Hotline, as he does every Friday at this time. Matt, what's going on, buddy?
Well, right now, I don't know if I'm great, but I am making an airport run and dropping off some friends at the airport. So, yeah, I'm just over here multitasking, Brendan. You know what I do.
No one does it better, covering the Chiefs, making airport runs, being a great friend. He does it all, ladies and gentlemen. Matt, we do appreciate you hanging out with us here on this Feel Good Friday afternoon. I wanted to start by asking you about a question you asked Patrick Mahomes yesterday, and Patrick kind of, I don't want to say he shrugged it off, but he didn't really give you a full answer. But you asked him, what's the difference between feeling 100% and also being 100% on the football field? What did you make of his answer to your question yesterday?
Yeah, I thought that was pretty much typical Patrick. That even if he gets a question that he thinks is probably a little bit from Mars, or he doesn't really like it, or understand it, he still tries to give you a good answer. And I thought actually the way that he answered it, I thought was pretty good, which, and the motivation for this, is that, hey, a lot of the trainers, athletic trainers that you'll talk to will say there's no way that Mahomes is going to be 100% probably any time this year. It takes a full 12 months for just the body to heal. And, rehabbing and getting yourself to a position where you can play isn't the same thing as the ligaments and everything in your body being 100% and all together. And, and like we've talked about, I asked him in the question, it's like, hey, Mahomes has come back from injuries faster than ever expected to a lot of them. I mean, he's played through a lot of pain. I mean, he was not clearly 100% healthy when he had a high ankle sprain that he played through in the AFC Championship game and the Super Bowl, but he fought through it. And he said it in the answer. He's like, there's never been a game that I played where I didn't feel like I was 100%. And, and that's, I think, going to be his motivation and mentality this year, is that he knows that he is absolutely going to be fighting through this season. And, I think that speaks a lot to a lot of things we heard about his character and just how he rehabs and how he attacks all this. And he's a different critter. And I thought when he just said, hey, if I can be Patrick Mahomes, I'll be Patrick Mahomes, that I thought pretty much summed it up in a nutshell.
I thought it was a great question for what it's worth. So with all of that kind of in mind here, Matt, and what you got to see at OTAs and hearing from him, should we just expect week one he's going to be good to go?
I mean, I'm still betting that he's going to be ready to go week one. Hey, like we talked about, if he's going to be 100% of himself, no. I mean, I sincerely doubt that, because his body's just not going to be there, and he's probably not going to be able to do certain things to the level that we have seen and been accustomed to before. But at the same time, he's going to be 100% of what he can do. And that's what I think we're going to see. Like I said, I don't think you're going to see him having the kind of year, or it's going to be different. It's going to be a different Patrick Mahomes.
We're talking to Matt Derrick of ChiefsDigest.com, our Chiefs insider, joining us on the Fleming Place Wine and Spirits Hotline. You can also follow him across social media at Matt Derrick is his handle. Matt, earlier on in this hour of the show, I shared my personal list of the 10 Chiefs under the most pressure in 2026. I went with Rashee Rice at the top of the list because, one, buddy, you got to worry about the rest of your career. You're in a contract year. You want to, continue to make a living doing this. You've got to figure some things out both on and off the field. And also, I am extremely low on the Chiefs pass catchers in general. Offense a little higher because of the line and Kenneth Walker. Pass catchers, I'm very bearish on that group. He's got to be a true wide receiver one in terms of production this year. Do you think that's fair that he's at least near the top of the list of the guys facing the most pressure this season?
Yeah, I think it is. I mean, that's just the reality of the situation. I mean, and there's nobody on this team that's not happy to be a Kansas City Chief. And there's going to be players who are going to be under more pressure than others. And that's just kind of one of the things that you live with. And honestly, if you want to be great in this game and you want to be a good player, this is the opportunities that you are asking for and you're dreaming of. So I mean, I think this is absolutely an incredible opportunity for him, and it's a chance to capitalize on the moment. It's maybe not happening in the way that everybody expected, but this is one of those chances, and there's no doubt. I mean, and I think it goes for everybody in that wide receiver room. Everybody's got to step up. I mean, if this team wants to go where it's going to be and where it's going to go, I think the biggest pressure is probably on the receiver room, because you can look at other position groups, and I think there's going to be a lot of bodies that are going to have to, contribute and everything. I mean, but if they don't, I mean, there are other options. Maybe the defensive line might be one that's a little bit more thin, but everywhere. I mean, the Chiefs have some options at receiver. It's slim. If the guys that you're counting on at the top don't come through, I don't know what plan B is. That's why your plan A for that group has really got to work this year.
And to that point, I've said it countless times on this program in recent weeks, months, and frankly, years at this point. I'm not a huge Xavier Worthy guy. I just worry about guys who are more track speed than game speed and who are that small. I don't know that Worthy is much of a true route tree wide receiver. I think he works well, manufactured touches, screens, jet sweeps, things like that, the jet motion guy. And that's why I've been pounding the table for another pass catcher, a veteran receiver, whatever, because then Worthy can do more of that stuff. Tyquan Thornton can be like, Justin Watson, but better, essentially, just be a clear out, go deep guy. And I think the pieces all fit together. Instead, without that, Rice is your one, and you do have to ask a lot of Thornton and Worthy. Do you think Worthy is up to the task of being able to take on that role this year?
I think he is. And, I think part of it is because I'm still really impressed by what Worthy did in college and with the quarterback play that he had, because I still don't think that he had very good quarterback play back then. I saw him, really making a lot out of some, bad throws and opportunities. And I think he accomplished probably more in college than he has to this point, which is why I think there's more of a ceiling there. I mean, I think there's a higher floor. And I also give Worthy a lot of credit for the way he fought through last year. It was absolutely zero time at any point last season after the second play of the year. He was 100%. Even the fact that he had shoulder surgery after the season. I mean, the guy could have had it during the season and just gone ahead and shut himself down. And that might have been maybe the best thing for him in the long term. Who knows? But, he put it off. He played through it, played through a lot of pain. And then, had an ankle on top of that issue that he kind of fought through as well. So when you see players do that makes a big difference, and so that's why I do think that there's more to him there. That, we saw what he did last year with basically one hand behind his back. If he's healthy this year, and, there was a play yesterday in practice that told me a lot about just kind of where he's at and where he's going. Mahomes had one of his throws that I thought, okay, and it was during 7-on-7, so take that also with a grain of salt. But this was a play that I'm like, okay, yeah, Mahomes is just throwing the ball away because nobody's open in the red zone. And then all of a sudden, the ball just falls off the table like it was on a string. It just absolutely falls over the defense, drops into the back of the end zone, and there's Xavier Worthy running the perfect route and hauling the ball in stride. He was exactly where he was supposed to be. Mahomes put the ball only where his guy could go get it and nobody else. And I mean, that's the kind of plays that, you used to see Tyreek make and maybe your Sammy Watkins. I mean, I felt like this was an old school Chiefs offense play. This was one that we just haven't seen from this offense in the last 3 or 4 years. And, hey, if Worthy is getting on the same page as Mahomes now, and I would rather see that play 50 times than, just one deep ball that finally hits. I mean, those are your money plays. If you can hit, Xavier Worthy in stride in the back of the end zone on a play like that, take that every time, versus the handful of times that maybe you're gonna get an exciting big play downfield. Those are great, but like I said, I'll take plenty of those just easy passes in the red zone or over the middle that you hit your guy and let him run. Those are going to get you a lot more in the end than just the exciting big plays that I know get a lot more attention.
Two more questions for Matt Derrick. He's our Chiefs insider. He joins us every Friday at this time for the Chiefs Insider via the Fleming Place Wine and Spirits hotline. You can find him on social media at Matt Derrick, and of course, his great work covering Kansas City football over at ChiefsDigest.com. Do you think EB is under any pressure this year? Not like your job is on the line pressure, but just, hey, we kind of did the soft firing thing with Matt Nagy, moved him out. We wanted new ideas, but also someone with some continuity. You've been around college and NFL football the last few years, had a good year with the Bears. I mean, the Bears running backs were great last year with EB as their position coach. I feel like it's not a massive amount, but when you're talking about, hey, we want to get this offense back on track and, kind of energized and high flying again, that to me says there's at least some sort of pressure here on the new old OC. Is that fair to say for EB?
I actually do. I mean, I think that especially if you just take the name off of it and you're talking about EB as just a coach in his career, and the career stops and the career moves and the arc, and you say, okay, he had a good run as an offensive coordinator, then he leaves, he kind of, stumbles at a couple of stops as an offensive coordinator, goes back to running backs coach and has a great season. And it's like, okay, so is he just one of the best running backs coaches that in the right situation can be an OC, or, were those two situations that he was in just, hey, there was, nobody could have made a situation out of that. EB did, maybe he got more out of both those teams than anybody else would have. What is he truly as an offensive coordinator level of that coach that, hey, maybe you're still going to think of him as a head coaching candidate still, or maybe he's going to put himself back into contention. And the way you do that is you fix the problems on this offense. And obviously, I don't think there's any doubt. I mean, you're bringing EB in because you feel like that this team had a lack of accountability last year. And that's not necessarily a knock on Matt Nagy, because I think they dealt with a lot of adversity as well. And they just couldn't overcome that. And that wasn't necessarily his fault. But, this is a team that they feel like accountability is their biggest challenge. And if they can overcome that, if they can hold these guys to a higher standard and get the most out of them, and especially at a couple of key spots, then this is going to be a better team. And, and some of the discipline, maybe, and especially maybe the attention to detail that they had under EB in the past, that may have dropped off. So I do. I mean, I think that Eric Bieniemy is going to be measured this season by just how good this team is at its attention to details. And we're seeing that even at the micro level. I mean, watching Chad O'Shea go through drills at wide receiver as he's been doing in front of the media, between going back to rookie minicamp and then yesterday as well. I mean, he is hammering away on the details. And I mean, that's part of his job, but I think that also is part of the mandate that's coming down from EB and Andy Reid.
Real quick, Matt, last thing I've got for you, thinking about this running back room, to go from Pacheco, Hunt, and Smith to Walker, DeMercado, and Johnson. And I really like that Emmett Johnson pick in the 5th round. Obviously, this running backs room is better. How much better do you feel like this running backs room is this year compared to last?
I think it's going to be a lot better. I mean, you go back, and I was having this conversation with on another show today. You go back to 2022, and the Chiefs, they rushed for, I think, more yards that year, but they were so much better at it. The team averaged like 4.7 yards a carry. And, that year, I think Pacheco, it was his rookie year, he averaged 4.9. Neither he nor Hunt broke 4 yet last year. I mean, they were both in the 3. That's not good. And no, I mean, you look at DeMercado. I mean, hasn't played for great offenses and great rushing teams, but his numbers in limited snaps have been amazing. He's a big runner in those situations. And Kenneth Walker, I mean, has been hot and cold, but he's also been well above that. I mean, he's a guy that should be able to get you 4+ easily, especially behind this offensive line. I mean, I think his job might be easier because I think the Chiefs' offensive line's better run blocking than the Seahawks line was. So I do. And, throwing Emmett Johnson, I mean, they've got depth now. They've got different styles that they can throw at you. I'm with you. I mean, I think this is going to be their best run group. Honestly, you might have to go back to 2018, the last time that they had Kareem Hunt in his prime. They've had some other good new groups with, like Darrell Williams and Damian Williams too. Or Damian, yeah. Gosh, I'm getting my Williams and my Williams and Wilsons all mixed up. But you go back to that group. I mean, maybe it's going to be closer to that because that was another running back by committee, whereas Kareem was just kind of Kareem. But I do. I think this is going to be a really good group. And if they can figure out their third down guy, and maybe that's going to be DeMarcado, if they can figure out somebody that can be a little bit of a Jerick McKinnon guy for them, then this is going to be a tough running back group to deal with.
Nobody covers the Kansas City Chiefs better than Matt Derrick. You can find his work doing just that over at ChiefsDigest.com. And he joins us every Friday at this time on the Fleming Place Wine and Spirits Hotline for our Chiefs Insider. Matt, as always, man, we appreciate it. Very nice of you to take your friends to the airport today. We'll talk to you soon.
I appreciate that, my friend. Take care, Brendan. Great talking to you.
That is the great Matt Derrick joining us for our Chiefs Insider. We have to get to a quick break. We'll come on back, wrap up this 3 o'clock hour with On Second Thought after this on 580 Sports Talk. On second thought for me this week, our weekly mea culpa, admitting we were wrong about a take. I thought Vinny Pasquantino could be a borderline all-star this year. I thought he was going to be a core offensive piece of this Royals team. I thought he was going to put up at least numbers commensurate with what he did last year. Instead, he has been worth negative wins above replacement. He does not even have 40 hits for the season yet. He has a batting average under 200 and an OPS in the low 600s. Yeah, it's not great. I'll hand up on that one. That was rough for me with Vinny P. Maybe he'll turn it around. I'm a little pessimistic about that right now. Before we get to the news break at the top of the hour, I want to remind you, once this weather and this rain finally subsides, your car is going to get a wash. You got acid rain, you got mud flapping all over it. You're going to need that car washed. And that's why you should go check out my friends at Eagle Auto Wash over on 21st and Chelsea. They've been locally owned right here in Topeka since 1987. And with an unlimited wash pass, there's all sorts of different levels of it, all sorts of different services. You can get washes however often you want, all year long. The crew there is absolutely incredible. I was seeing them earlier this week. They're so nice. The guys do a great job washing your car. Whatever you want, they're going to take care of it for you. So go check out my friends at Eagle Auto Wash. Check out their unlimited wash plans and soar with the Eagle. Coming up in the 4 o'clock hour of 580 Sports Talk, we've got a little giveaway for you coming up for a local event. We'll talk about that coming up during the 4 o'clock hour when Spencer gets in here. We're going to hear from our buddy Trenton Craxter, a little audible with the schedule today. Trenton's going to join us at the top of the hour to talk some Royals baseball and a little state tournament action as well. Plus, the What Is Wrong With You Made Championship next hour on 580 Sports Talk. 4 o'clock hour of 580 Sports Talk coming your way here on the Sports Voice of Kansas, 580 WIBW. Brendan Dworzinski, Spencer Dupuis here with you. Welcome to the box, Spencer.
What's up?
Good to see you, pal.
Yeah.
Dan Lucero is off. He'll be back on Monday. I was busy during the top of the hour break. I didn't have time to come up with a joke about where Dan is. He's enjoying some family time. He's probably on the golf course right now, in fact. Or he ended up at the Women's College World Series.
He was telling me about that.
If he could get cheap tickets, I'd go, man.
Yeah, I told him, I said, what you got to do is you got to wake up the morning of the thing and try to find them then.
There you go.
Because people are trying to literally get rid of them for that day.
No University of Oklahoma. So this is like Haley's Comet. You're down there for the World Series, and OU's not in it. It doesn't happen more than once a generation. So no, hope Dan's having fun. We'll see him again on the show here on Monday. Thanks for listening wherever you are, 580 AM, 104.9 FM, 580WIBW.com, or on our YouTube channel. We've got the May Championship in What Is Wrong With You coming up here in about 20 minutes or so. We'll also talk some college football later on this hour. Little change my mind coming up at the end of the hour, Spence. But right now, a special treat for us. We called an audible at the last moment. And right now, ladies and gentlemen, let's go to Lawrence, Kansas, where we are joined by former 580 Sports Talk intern, the sideline reporter for Washburn football, and for our purposes today, writer about all things Royals baseball for RoyalsReview.com. That is Trenton Craxner. Trenton, you are also doing a little state softball this week. How are things going over in Lawrence?
It's wet. They're about to pull the tarp. We were very lucky that the second semifinal game between Uniontown and Mission Valley ended right before they had to tarp the field. So they're about to pull it off. That was the grounds crew. They've been great all week. It's been tough for them. And I know across town, we were keeping eyes on the KU game. They have an all-turf field, so they have it a little bit easier than we do here.
Yeah, it was rainy day here in Northeast Kansas. We got battered by some rain a little bit earlier. Thankfully, not a ton of that made it over to Lawrence. Trenton, real quick before we start talking a little Royals baseball, I do want to let you know our YouTube graphic for you still has you holding your Chris Stratton poster and still says president and chairman of the Chris Stratton fan club. So I hope you know that that's still going strong.
The updated version could be Bailey Falter, but he's gone now.
Barely around long enough to get a fan club.
He was, I wouldn't call it a fan club as much as the new carrier of the white towel movement. And, they call his name the game's over for the Royals, waving the towel.
Yeah, not good to have your white flag guy be a starter. Not anything you ever want to see. All right, Trenton, let's talk a little Royals baseball here. I know you, and if you follow Trenton's writing over at Royals Review, you see him on social media. You heard him here on the show when he's been on in the past. Not a Matt Quattrero guy, certainly not an Alex Zumwalt guy. I know that you have been in favor of the Royals making a change at the top of their administration. Let's put it that way. Were you at all surprised that with the off day yesterday, there wasn't a change? Spencer came in yesterday and said, hey, man, I thought this was the right time to do it if you're going to do it. Are you at all surprised that there wasn't a move made this week?
No. I mean, they could have made a move after they got swept last Thursday by the Red Sox. That would have been a perfect day on that off day to get rid of either Zumwalt or Quattrero. I think it's really interesting. Going to those comments under the Royals Review, the daily thread that we put out, and just seeing some of the arguments, and there's some good points that get made in there. And, Alex Zumwalt's been with the Royals since like early 2010. I mean, he's a J.J. Piccolo type of guy. And while you can argue, Q and Zumwalt need to go, maybe even Vance Wilson, how bad are the Royals on the base pass? Like, do they need to do base coaches too? Do they go full Red Sox and just fire 5 coaches at once? I don't know. But I don't know if you could really see any change until maybe J.J. Piccolo or some of the guys in the front office, because the front office is just really shuffling their feet and not really doing anything. And I think they just extended Quattrero. I think, honestly, they probably stick with him through this year. Maybe it's an off-season move. Maybe they give him one more year next year. But I think more than likely the first move would be Alex Zumwalt relieved of his duties, and they promote Thames from the assistant hitting coach or one of the other new guy. I'm blanking on his name, Connor Dawson, I think. One of the assistant hitting coaches they brought in. I think maybe that's the only move they make this year, unfortunately.
Trenton Kraxner joins us here on 580 Sports Talk, former show intern and current writer for RoyalsReview.com. We talked about this a little bit on the show yesterday. Just, what's next? Like, you have these two incredibly embarrassing games against the Yankees. I know they're good. You faced good pitchers, but you have to expect with this team and where they are, you should at least be competitive and not get blown out 22-1 over the course of 2 days. So if you're going to make a move, what's the meaning behind it? Would you be okay if the entire meaning behind a firing, no matter who it is, if the meaning is just we're sending a message? Like, is that good enough to you? Because I don't know if making a change at manager, hitting coach, whatever, is going to save the season necessarily. I also don't want them to make a move just to say, well, we had to do something, so that's what we did. Is it fine with you if it's just, hey, we wanted to send a message that this isn't good enough? Does that, would that click for you, so to speak?
Well, I mean, they've lost 13 straight to the Yankees, and think about how many of those losses have actually been competitive. 3, they're just playing a different brand of baseball. But yeah, the season's probably lost. They're 12 games under 500. They'd have to go probably at least 7-3, 8-2 on this 10-game road trip to maybe even bring some hope back. They're one of the worst teams in baseball. I think you getting rid of a guy, it's not going to save the season necessarily, because if they get rid of Quatraro, it's just going to be Paul Hoover probably, and he's basically like Q, as the way I understand it. But I think it sends a message to the fans and the season ticket holders that are growing disdain for the Royals and what's going on. Hey, we're listening. We're seeing what you say. We're showing that you guys care. We care about what you guys think, because a lot of the fans are fed up. You see it on social media where, granted, a lot of social media posts are negative nowadays, it seems like, but still there's a lot of good points and data. Even a lot of the Royals writers are coming around outside of just Royals Review that they got to make a move. And I think that the front office needs to understand that you're probably not going to save the season. Maybe they go on a miracle run to get a wild card spot, because everyone else in the American League is pretty bad right now, better than the Royals. But it would just show that you care. I think that you're listening and caring what your fans think and the products, because, I mean, I'm seeing comments on the Royals Review thread. When are they going to pass out brown bag day? When's that promotion? Like, why don't we just stage protests in the parking lot, not even go into the games? Like, that's ideas that fans are putting in those comments under our post.
Yeah, things are going great. That's a real ringing endorsement of the state of the Kansas City Royals. Talking to Trenton Kraxner, writer for RoyalsReview.com, part of SB Nation, joining us here on 580 Sports Talk. So while all that negativity is going on, to just feed into it more, Trenton, my on second thought at the end of the 3 o'clock hour for today's show was that I thought Vinny Pasquantino could be a borderline all-star this year, and he has just been terrible. I mean, a sub 200 batting average, OPS plus of 74. That's 26% worse than the league average. Not hitting for a lot of power. Not just with Vinny, but with the guys who have disappointed in general. Is there any one thing you can point to right now where you feel like, man, if we were doing this differently, if this approach was different? I'm not even worried about pitching right now, because the injury to Reagans has really just thrown things off. I know there's more issues, but that in and of itself has just been such a buzzkill. But offensively, is there anything you can point to where if this one thing was even a bit different, our fortunes may be different?
I think if the Royals just hit a little bit better with runners in scoring position, if they just did a little bit better of the small things, look at how many times they'll get second and third with one out, or runner on third with nobody out, or one out, and they don't score them, and then, hey, the Royals are down 2-1, or they're up 2-1 in the top of the eighth. Oh, here comes Daniel Lynch or Nick Mears. I hope they're on top of their game today. I mean, it's just too much pressure on the pitching staff, and I know the pitching hasn't been great. It's either the pitching's really good and the offenses are bad, or the offense is good and the pitching's bad. That's just kind of been the theme of the season for the Royals. But I mean, I think it's just doing those little things of, hey, there's a guy in scoring position with less than 2 outs. Lead off double. We got to get him home. Okay, Bobby got Garcia third. Vinny and Stout just needs to get the ball in the air and hit a stack fly. I think that's what's really killing the Royals, because you look back at when everything was going right and Vinny was unbelievably good in 24. He was a sack fly king. How many sack flies has Vinny had this year? One, maybe two, and he's had about 100 plate appearances. It feels like with runners in scoring position. I mean, that's where I think the Royals are hurting, especially since they're and they say it. Lefevre says a lot on the broadcast. I think they lead the league in most losses by 1 or 2 runs. They lead the whole MLB. So, like, you just flip those games, the Royals could easily be 34-22, right? But they're not doing those little things of bringing guys home with less than 2 outs when they're in scoring position. And then some guy gives up a 440-foot go-ahead home run in the 8th or 9th, and the Royals lose, and then everyone's frustrated because it's the same game over. You know, it's just, I think that's where you point to the approach is, hey, we got to get the guy in with less than 2 outs and when they're on third.
He does have 4 sack flies this year, but overall, with runners in scoring position, he is 8 for 52. That's a 154 average. He does not have an extra base hit with runners in scoring position. 8 for 52, all singles, which is, you just cannot have that from a corner infielder, and I know I'm preaching to the choir with that. The crazy thing about this, and your compatriot over there at Royals Review, Connor Moylan, wrote about this. I believe it was this morning that this piece came out. The Royals are wasting an incredible year from Bobby Witt Jr. We've had some commenters in the YouTube mentioning this already so far on the show today. But like right now, to me, Bobby Witt Jr. is the front runner by, any amount of distance you want to give him over probably Ben Rice for American League MVP. He's got the best glove in baseball, at least in the American League, and certainly among infielders. The only one in the running is Cubs center fielder Pete Crow Armstrong. Other than that, I mean, it's Witt and nobody else. The power has come along at least a bit over time. He probably wishes he had been producing more, but he's still got way, way, way above average and above good numbers this year. I mean, how incredible to you is it that Bobby Witt Jr. is putting together an MVP caliber season, and this team stinks? He did it 2 years ago. One of the best runner-up seasons ever. At least they were good. The team blows, and he still is putting up this incredible year.
Yeah, and you can compound that. You can copy and paste that article maybe every year. I mean, you can copy and paste it from last year. You can even copy and paste it probably from 2024 because I think it was yesterday, another writer there, Matt Lamar, put an article about basically pointing towards the front office. He said Bobby Witt Jr. had like a 9 or 10 WAR in that 24 postseason playoff team that the Royals had, but they also won. They went 12-1 against the White Sox. So it took Bobby Witt Jr. having maybe one of the greatest years all time in the sport and playing the worst team to ever go out there and play 162 games in the modern era for the Royals to make the playoffs. And that was barely, because they had the same record as the Mariners and the Tigers, but they won the season series against both of those teams. That's why they got in. I mean, you could copy and paste that because ever since that 86 and 76 season, the Royals are 114, like 134 the last 2 years or something like that. It's just, I think that's outside of playing the White Sox, being 12-1 against them. It just shows that were the Royals really that good in 2024? And I think everything kind of went right with runners in scoring position. But yeah, they got to do some. I know a lot of people are saying that Bobby's going to opt out. I don't think so. I think Bobby loves Kansas City. Maybe that's a little bit of the royal blue tinted glasses speaking. But the Royals need to start building around him. And help's not going to come because they don't got really much in AA or AAA that's going to come to help them right now. They might be a couple years away from competing. So I wouldn't be surprised if the Royals trade some surprising names this year to try and load up on prospects.
We're joined by our former intern, now writer for Royals Review, Trenton Craxner, here on the Fleming Place Wine and Spirits Hotline. And Trenton, I was just about to get to that. Would you be surprised if they traded somebody away like Michael Garcia or Michael Waka or somebody like that you would have thought maybe at the beginning of this year would be untouchable?
I think Vinny Pasquantino might be a guy that they'll look at because they have Brett Squires right now, who's just absolutely mashing. I think maybe you could flip guys like in the outfield because they have so many guys like Carson Rockefeller coming up through the outfield and stuff like that. They have plenty of outfielders, but I don't think Hugo Garcia. I could more than likely see Walker or Lugo with those veterans and the contract. Though I think pitching, maybe Vinny could go. They have plenty of guys at first and outfield in the minor league depth. But yeah, they need to restock that farm system right now because all the teams in the minor leagues are under 500 as well right now.
All right, Trenton, before we let you go, real quick, got about 30 seconds here. Let us know the preview for the rest of the day going on there at 4A, 1A softball over in Lawrence.
They are drying off the tarp right now. Pitt Colgan and Mission Valley, 2-seed Mission Valley. I believe Pitt Colgan's a 5-seed. Should be a really good one. Should be a pitching duel. I think it's going to be a low-scoring affair. I think we're going to get started a little bit after 5 o'clock.
All right. You want to hear Trenton's dulcet voice, head over to Lawrence. Get to hear him PAing some softball for Keisha. And right now he is joining us as well here on 580 Sports Talk for a chat about all things Royals. Writer for Royals Review. Check out his work, royalsreview.com. Trenton, we appreciate the time, buddy. We've got to get to a quick commercial break. We'll come back. We've got the May championship of What Is Wrong With You coming up on the other side of this timeout right here on 580 Sports Talk. It is time for the monthly championship for May in What Is Wrong With You. I'm Brendan, that's Spencer. We've got two stories going head-to-head today. One of them will be crowned the May champion and will advance on to the tournament of failed champions coming up at the end of December 2026. The other will fade into obscurity forever. Okay, that was a little dramatic.
Yeah.
But two stories, our two finalists going head-to-head here. Let's start with, well, we'll just go in order how we have them listed in our show notes here. We will start with the free Wi-Fi free-for-all. We are going to, and I got to get this all set up here. We're going to Pulaski County, Kentucky, where a man is accused of attacking two people with a baseball bat after they turned off their Wi-Fi. Why would he care? Because he was stealing it. He was also using their Wi-Fi. First of all, guys, you got to use a password. Got to password protect.
Yes, it's 2026. Why aren't we password protecting our Wi-Fi?
Yeah. Does your Wi-Fi have a funny name? Or
No,
is it just
it's
like
literally Spencer and Olivia?
Spencer and Olivia Wi-Fi? Yeah, it's funny. Ours is just whatever our provider gave to us, and we don't know how to change it or the password. So we just like, okay, whatever. Just leave it there. I like the ones that are like, it hurts when IP, like IP address. Ha ha ha.
Yeah,
or the ones that are like
FBI surveillance.
van. Yeah, those I find those to be very funny. I'm also 12, clearly.
Yeah.
Anyway, he was stealing their Wi-Fi and then attacked them with a baseball bat. 44-year-old Jonathan Gross allegedly went to this neighboring apartment and threatened to kill the couple inside if the internet didn't work by the time he got back to his room. One of the victims got away during the assault and called the police. Deputies then found a woman sitting outside bleeding from her head and said that Gross was still in the bedroom inside the residence. Officials tried to get him to leave several times. Eventually, they just went in themselves and put him into custody. He is charged with 2 counts of attempted murder, 2nd-degree disorderly conduct, 2 counts of 3rd-degree terroristic threatening, and alcohol intoxication in a public place. Although, to be fair, it doesn't seem that public. He is being held on a $1 million cash bond at the Pulaski County Detention Center. He was arraigned and had his first hearing 16 days ago. I have not seen an update since then on Mr. Gross. But his flagrant disregard for the health of others, also gross. That story's insane.
Yeah.
Truly, truly insane. Our second finalist, Spencer, in the month of May. We call him Wade Mode. We are going down to Grapevine, Texas, where a man is facing charges of illegal boating after he purposefully drove his Tesla Cybertruck into a lake to test out its Wade Mode feature. You pointed it out yesterday, Spencer. The Wade depth setting on a Cybertruck, 32 inches.
Yeah.
This guy had it almost up to the windows of his truck. Utterly preposterous. Officers with the Grapevine PD responded. This was back on May 20th to a boat ramp on Grapevine Lake where they found the Cybertruck in the water. The driver admitted to purposely driving his truck into the lake to test out the Wade Mode feature, which supposedly allows a Cybertruck to drive through shallow rivers or creeks. Again, rivers or creeks, not a lake. It did not work because the vehicle was disabled and water started pouring in. This guy's lucky he didn't die.
Do you want to know what his name is?
Yeah, I guess he's unidentified in the original story. What is his name?
Jimmy Jack McDaniel.
Jimmy Jack McDaniel. That's a great name.
Yeah.
Jimmy Jack McDaniel. Do we have any updates on this story? Did he get? This is like an older guy too.
Yeah,
he's not
70
young.
years old. I don't know, but
that makes it so much funnier.
Like I don't know. To me, what makes it the funniest is like you are literally driving an electric car. What does not mix very well with electric? Water.
Oh man, that's funny.
Like, you think you can submerge half your car in water? That's not how Wade Mode works. This isn't a duck boat car thing.
I love that he's a 70-year-old man, an old dude. You know what I'm going to try? I heard this car can swim. I'm going to give it a try. Nope. Does not work that way. Wow, that's a funny little detail on the story. All right, so those are our finalists for the month of May. The free Wi-Fi free-for-all and Wade Mode. I am convinced in my pick. Spencer, I will allow you the honors. You can go first. Who is your winner for the May championship, and what is wrong with you?
It's got to be Wade Mode.
Okay.
He was charged with operating a vehicle in a closed section of a park, and they also got him for a violation of not having a valid boat registration.
I do find that funny. Like, my car can swim.
No, it can't. It's an electric vehicle.
But it's still an illegal boat. Yeah, that's tremendous. Okay, so we are going to have to go to the listenership because I am voting for the free Wi-Fi free-for-all. This man threatened to kill people over them turning off the Wi-Fi that he was stealing from them. You have gotten in my way of committing a petty crime, and I'm going to kill you over it with a bat.
My thing is Tygo's sobriety, so
he was intoxicated. This is so extreme, though.
But also, is it what is wrong with you for the person having an open Wi-Fi network?
Well, there is also that. You got to put the password on it. If you live in a building with other rooms connected to yours, You got to put a password on it. That's my vote, though. I'm going for the free Wi-Fi free-for-all, so we are going to open it up to you. We'll put 90 seconds on the clock here. Put 90 seconds on the clock starting in 3, 2, 1 now. Text it in 785-272-9429 or drop us a line in the YouTube comments. Either tell us Wi-Fi or tell us car, water, whatever you want to say. We'll know what it is. Wade mode, whatever you want to call it.
We've got one vote for each so far on the text line.
All right, and we've got a couple who are pouring in here in the YouTube comments as well. I'm a little surprised. I thought this might be unanimous today. I'm a little bit surprised.
2-2 tie.
Wow.
3-2 Wade mode.
Wow. Okay. So that's
also somebody from the 785 said anything that makes Spencer giggle like that wins.
That's true. We didn't get an answer from Dan.
We're at 5-2 Wade mode.
Really? Wow. All right. So we are currently, I'm surprised here. So how do you want to do this? Look away from the screen for one moment. How do we want to do this? Do we want to say that YouTube and text each are one vote?
Yeah.
Or is it total tallied up?
What do you mean total tallied up?
So so the YouTube votes plus the text line votes, that's all one vote?
Yeah.
Or the YouTube is 1 and the text line is 1?
YouTube is 1, text line is 1.
Okay. All right. Well, then we're going to have a problem here because we're about to be tied up because the YouTube is currently favoring the Wi-Fi story.
6-2 Wade mode.
All right, 10 seconds left if you want to get your vote in either on the YouTube feed or in the text line. I'm utterly shocked by this. I will be truly honest with you. I thought the free-for-all was going to dominate in this one. But the time is up, so the YouTube voted for the Wi-Fi story. Spencer, you and that was my vote as well. You and the text line voted for Wade mode. Here's what we're going to do. We're going to go find someone in the building and have them be the tie-breaking vote. That's what I'm going to do during the commercial break. I am going to go find someone in the building and have them be the tie-breaking vote.
Is Greg tuned in the studio down there?
We'll go see if Greg knows. That's what we'll do. I'll go jump in as long as he's not recording something for the Ag Networks. I'm going to go ask Greg Akagi what his vote is here. What do we got? 2-minute commercial break here?
Yep.
All right, so that's what we're going to do in the next 2 minutes. We're going to find out if Greg, he'll break the tie for us. We'll come back. Got some college football to talk about. Have some tickets to give away for an event in town as well. We'll get to that coming up here in a moment. And, of course, we've got a little Change My Mind this hour as well, right here on 580 Sports Talk. The voice of the Kansas Ag Network, our farm director here at WIBW, color commentator for high school football on the 580 Preps Game of the Week. Also hear him filling in on high school basketball coverage and some Washburn football coverage as well. Greg Akagi has cast the tie-breaking vote, and to my utter shock, it is Wade Mode that wins the month. Wade Mode picks up the win. Spencer, you said a texter also said if Dan was here, he absolutely would have picked Wade Mode for the jokes.
Yeah, the 785 said, Dan's all in on the Wade Mode just for the jokes.
That's probably true.
Crazy with those jokes last week.
Wade Mode's the winner. It beats the free Wi-Fi free for. I'm shocked. I will say that. I am stunned. But I'm not going to complain about it. Spencer, why don't we give away some tickets?
Let's do it.
All right. So I wanted to make sure I got the name right here. We've got a pair of tickets. We have two to give away today. We're going to give away one pair right now to Boots and Bow Ties at the Topeka Zoo. It is coming up next Saturday, correct?
Yes.
If I'm not mistaken about that. So it is coming up on June 6th. Boots and Bow Ties at the Topeka Zoo. An unforgettable country chic night at the Topeka Zoo. Live music, bourbon tastings, and wild fun under the stars. We've got a pair of tickets to give away, and I want to give them away to caller number 4. Caller number 4 to 785-272-9429. We've got a pair of tickets to Boots and Bow Ties for you. You'll be able to pick them up at the station coming up next week. 785-272-9429. Caller number 5 is going to win those tickets. And that will be our first of a pair to give away today here on the show. Again, a pair for Boots and Bow Ties at the Topeka Zoo. Spencer will take your information for our winning caller. We'll have another pair to give away sometime in the 5 o'clock hour as well. I wanted to touch on a little college football today. I know we spoke a bit about it on yesterday's show as well. If you listen to 580 a.m. in the mornings and you hear leading off in the mornings with Greg and Spencer in the morning, you also heard me complaining about Kirby Smart the other day and how he is just driving me absolutely up a wall. But my big college football question this offseason, and we're about a month and a half, just under a month and a half away from Big 12 football media days down in Frisco. It's in the Metroplex. I think we're back to Frisco this year. One, what are we doing with the fact that KU and K-State are on the same day of media days? But what are we doing? Well, that's my big question for college football this offseason. At this point, what is the point of what we're doing? Is it the sake of improving college football and college sports in general? Or is it making a statement and serving only our own individual best interests? So first, we've got more administrators who are complaining about kickoff times. Arkansas's Hunter Yurachek, their athletic director, penned an open letter this week, ripping into ESPN and their own conference, the SEC, because they don't like their kickoff times in weeks 2 and 3. On September 12th, Arkansas is going on the road to Utah to take on the Utes. 9:15 kickoff. And then they play at home against Georgia at 11 a.m. the following week. Yurachek said, well, our team isn't going to get to campus until early Sunday morning. That's a health issue. The focus must be on the well-being of the game's participants, not the bottom line of our media partner, said Hunter Yurachek. Oh, buddy, that's freaking rich. In SEC school, not even one of the best ones, not even an Alabama or a Georgia or a, not Florida right now, but a Florida, a Tennessee. No, Arkansas football. We can't think about the bottom line of our media partner. The assigned schedule will cost our student athletes nearly a full day of rest and recovery that they would otherwise have available to them. This is not simply a competitive disadvantage. It is a genuine welfare issue for the young men who represent our program and contribute greatly to the bottom line of our television partners. I did a little research going into the show today. Is Hunter Yurachek full of garbage? And according to the National Institute of Health, Yes. Now, this is an NFL study that a number of scientists, I won't read you all their names, Jose Raul Perez, Jonathan Burke, Abdul Zalika, and several others with the National Institute of Health, they put together a study 2 years ago. Oh, I'm sorry, this is actually 6 years ago now. Does short rest with Thursday night games influence injury rates in the NFL? And they found out that there is a significant association between amount of rest and injuries in the National Football League. More injuries on full rest than on Thursday nights. Short rest actually led to fewer injuries than longer periods of rest did for every position except quarterbacks. Quarterbacks got hurt more on short rest in the NFL. Is it 1-to-1 with college football? No. Does it feed into the narratives? No. But actually, if you're talking about student-athlete wellness, you're not any worse off getting back early on Sunday as opposed to late on Saturday for your kickoff against Utah and your following game against Georgia. Give me a break. The focus shouldn't be on the bottom line of our media partner. That's why you're in that conference, you bum. That's the whole point of the SEC's partnership with ESPN and Disney, is that all you care about is the bottom line. But now, it's not good for me this 1-2 week stretch this year, so we need to reconsider everything. Shut up. Shut up, Hunter Yurachek and Arkansas football. This is what the money is for. You live with it. You sold your soul to Mickey Mouse. And now you live with the consequences. We live in this era for college football above anything else, even college basketball, even other college sports, where if anything negatively affects me, that means the whole thing is bad. We need to talk badly about the whole thing. We need to redo all of it, even though I already sold my soul to Mickey and Walt to get this done. Give me a break. And then to follow that, I saw this morning from the folks at The Athletic, friend of the program, David Ubben, among others, about the various other pieces of drama that came out of the SEC meetings in Miramar Beach, Florida. I want to read you an excerpt from the beginning of this story from David Ubben, Seth Emerson, and Ralph Russo. Stopping to chat as he headed to the valet desk in the lobby of the Hilton Sandestin, an SEC football coach was asked how a large CFP, college football playoff, field he would prefer. 12 would be fine if they didn't give away spots if it was just the 12 best teams. Yes, James Madison, Tulane, and the group of 6 were the primary target, but make no mistake, many in the SEC believe the Big 12 is getting more credit than it deserves as well. Amid lingering questions about how the committee is using elements like strength of schedule and a new strength of record metric in its rankings, the Big 12's top teams have become the target. After 2s and 3s could go run the rack against Texas Tech's schedule. Side note here, Joey McGuire at Texas Tech said, okay, I'll raise you one. Texas, you come play us, and we'll buy out the contracts for our current week 1 games. We'll buy out the low major schools that we're playing in week 1. They can go figure something else out. We'll pay out the contract. You come play us. Texas is obviously not going to do that because they're going to be cowards about the whole thing. Again, from The Athletic, the coaches and ADs meetings with the college football playoff officials on Tuesday centered around a need for clarity on how the committee would compare the SEC strength of schedule, featuring 9 conference games for the first time this year, to schedules from those of the Big 12 or the ACC. The fear among coaches in the room, the league's 4 new coaches largely stayed silent, was that an SEC team with 3 losses would often fall below a Big 12 SEC team with 2, despite playing what they believe to be a much more difficult schedule. Even though Texas isn't going to go play Tech because Tech's schedule is easy, but it's a whole thing, man. Again, my overarching question, what are we doing? Is this what we want college football to be? Is what we want the sport to be just a nonstop being and moaning. I don't want to say that word. I know I technically can. I don't want to say it on the air, though. Just whining, complaining nonstop about these conferences. One of the things that I find beautiful about this sport is the fact that for so long, every game mattered. And if you were a national title contender, you could lose one game and that ruined your season. It made it the best regular season in sports. All sports in the United States. That died to a degree as soon as the playoff was introduced. Because, like, you could lose one game and you could no longer be a national champion, but you could still win 9, go to the Alamo Bowl, win it, and say, damn, man, that was a great year. That's dead. That is completely dead. And it only continues to die as we continue to expand the playoff. That is why I'm in favor of a 2014 playoff. Because these people have already ruined the sport. They've already ruined the single best regular season in college, in all of sports, the college football regular season. They have ruined it. So stop being chicken you-know-what and make it a full tournament. You've already thrown away all these things that were great. So many teams, so many programs, so many styles all across the country. But the power brokers, SEC, Big Ten specifically, and right now my eye are directed at the Southeastern Conference, it's all been about, well, but our schedule's tougher, so we deserve preferential treatment. And actually, the little schools shouldn't matter at all. We're giving away space to them. And the Big 12 shouldn't matter. And the ACC shouldn't matter. Spencer, I want the SEC, sorry to use the loaded language here, I want them to secede from the rest of college football. Get the hell out.
Yeah.
And let us enjoy the sport and the goodness that comes with the game of college football, the different styles, the different coaches, the different everything around the country. Let us enjoy that, and you can go be NFL junior somewhere else. You want Kirk and Fowler to do the SEC NFL junior game of the week? Go for it. All you're going to be is a crappier version of the NFL. I will enjoy the beauty and the mess and the everything else that comes with college football, as is with everyone else. You can go be a crappier NFL all you want. I'm rooting for that. I'm not kidding. I want them to break off and do their own thing so I can enjoy the sport without them meddling in it anymore because I'm sick of it.
Even it's become, you add to that conversation the Big Ten. Like those two entities have become so me. The world revolves around us. Oh, we're Ohio State. You can't schedule us for a big noon game. Oh, my God. We want games at night. There has to be games at night at Ohio Stadium. Like, what? Come on. You're literally in the Big Ten. The Big Ten signed with Fox, and they knew that this big noon package was coming.
Yep. Oklahoma was the same way. Oklahoma was sick of constantly being the big noon game. Well, you're the biggest brand and the best team in the conference, man. You agreed to all of this. And now you don't like it because, well, I didn't think the Leopards would eat my face. That's what happens when you sell your soul to the almighty dollar. And I am not trying to say, well, what if we were nice and we all shared all the money evenly? I'm not stupid. Well, I might be, but not about this. I'm not completely naive. I know what the driver is behind all of it. I know it's the almighty dollar, okay? I'm not dumb about that. But you have to live with the consequences of it. That is what I said about the border war for all those years. I had no problem with Missouri saying, hey, this is best for our program. We're going to go do this. Fine. But there are consequences to that. Arkansas, buddy, you got more money than you deserve from that big, fat Disney contract with the SEC. Sometimes you've got to go kick it 11. Sorry, pal. You don't get everything you want.
Well, then it's like the Big Ten is like, we'll add to our conference. Well, guess what? You're excluding these West Coast teams from essentially being able to take the big noon game because of how early it is. You can't have a 9 a.m. local kick. That's wild. So guess what? Then Fox is going to chase your best teams otherwise with big noon. So like this whole big noon, like I don't want to play at noon. You guys signed up for that package, and then you added teams that physically would be wild to play at 9 a.m. for health and safety reasons too. And they are not going to play a big noon morning, so you're only allowing a certain amount of programs that they want in the big noon kickoff window, right? Like because they added West Coast teams that are not going to play at 9 a.m. and that their product isn't going to be big noon at 7 a.m. or whatever, then they're entitled to the Ohio States, the Penn States, those teams when they're really good on the big noon, and you have to deal with it.
I know this sounds super incendiary, and it is. I'm not trying to like ignite a revolution here. These people hate you. As a sports consumer, the Kirby Smarts, the Hunter Yuricheks, the Greg Sankeys, the enemy of the people, Greg Sankey, they hate you. They hate that you are not in the SEC. They hate that you are not, that you would dare to care about and like college football and not be in the hunt for a national championship every single year. They hate your school. They hate your favorite team. They hate the conference that your team plays in, and they hate everybody associated with it. And if you don't believe me, go again, check it out at The Athletic. Ralph Russo and David Ubbin and Seth Emerson, they wrote all about it. They hate your conference. They hate who you are. They hate what you care about. That's the truth. You can find it very obviously. They are not afraid to say it. And that's why I'm rooting for them to break off. Go be NFL Junior. I wish you the best. I'll probably watch some of their games because I just can't get enough football. Most of America can't. But go do it. Go be your own little sanitized thing and leave the rest of our sport alone. I am like a widespread realignment accelerationist at this point. Like, I think there's way too many teams in D1, to be frank with you. Some FBS teams who should be still in FCS, FCSs who should still be D2, plenty of schools in D1 basketball that probably should be dropping to D3, if not D2. I am an accelerationist when it comes to that kind of thing. And you know what? You want to go do that, SEC? Kirby Smart, you only want to play the other teams and have your own little national championship? Go for it. Please. I give you my blessing. Go do it and get the hell out of here so we can enjoy college football the way it's supposed to be. And again, not about the money, not about the transfers. It's not about that. It's about, well, the playoff and every kickoff window and every single thing about the sport needs to cater to these 16 teams. No, go do your own thing. Please. I'm asking you. Florida, Tennessee, South Carolina, Mississippi State, Alabama, all of you, please go do your own thing. I personally, because this is all we care about, right? All we care about is how it exactly affects me. That's what you guys are telling me. I hope you get out so I can enjoy college football the way I would prefer to enjoy college football going forward. Enjoy being a sanitized, worse version of the NFL. We've got to get to a break. Change My Mind is up next to wrap up this hour on 580 Sports Talk. All right, Spencer, we got to go real fast here. Change my mind. We will get a break off from the two biggest conferences in college football. They will break off at some point in the next, let's say 2030, because that's when all the contracts end. 2030, the SEC and Big Ten break off and do their own thing. I think they will. Really.
Yeah, you can't. I mean, there's no change in my. I think it's going to happen. I think the amount that they're going to want and how they're going to want things to be done. It's the SEC and the Big Ten are the highway. It feels like when it comes to the way schools are or the way conferences are going when it comes to TV deals.
The SEC makes me furious. You know what makes me happy? My good friends at Calhoun's Jewelers over there at 1801 Southwest Gage Boulevard. You've heard my story over the years, guys. All the incredible things they've done for me, for my wife. I'm wearing my wedding ring right now. It came from Calhoun's. The staff over there, Kurt and everybody, they are absolutely fantastic. And through the end of the weekend, we've got the spring sale going on at Calhoun's. The whole store up to 60% off, but there's just a limited time left. The compliments will never end for whatever you buy. Ring, watch, necklace, whatever. But this sale will. Up to 60% off at Calhoun's, 1801 Southwest Gage Boulevard through the end of the weekend. 1 hour left on 580 Sports Talk. We've got headlines, a Royals preview, and an Ask Us Anything to end of the week. Back here after the news on 580 Sports Talk. is the final hour of 580 Sports Talk on this feel-good Friday afternoon. I'm Brendan Dworzinski. On the other side of the glass, that is Spencer Dupuis. Dan Lucero is on assignment. He is filling in for the Tulsa Drillers bat dog this week. You hear what happened to the bat dog for the Tulsa Drillers?
Got suspended?
Yeah, it ran into a player and injured him.
Jeez.
In fact, funny enough, your favorite hometown sports talk show was talking about it while you were out of the room today. They had a whole thing about it. One of the hosts was very mad. Yeah, it ran under a player, and the player had to jump out of the way and got hurt.
Jeez.
So, yeah, they've suspended their bat dog program. So, yeah, there you go.
Dan wouldn't run into a player.
No, Dan would not. I don't think I've ever seen Dan run. I mean, he clearly has in his life. He's a former, college athlete. I don't know how often pitchers were running at DePaul, but still. I don't think I've ever seen him run. I don't think I've ever seen you run. I am the most likely of us to run,
yeah.
Because I used to just run. But, if I have somewhere to be quickly, I'll sprint through the hallway. I don't care. I'll knock someone over.
Yeah.
Sorry, boss man. Bang!
I remember the old days of when you were first starting out doing sales and you were making sales calls between hours.
Yeah.
And you would run back before the hour started.
Yeah, that did happen. Man, weren't those the days? I'm Brendan. That's Spencer. Thanks for hanging out with us. Dan will be back on Monday. He's got some family time down in Oklahoma with his family, the in-laws, all hanging out down there. I know he was going to play a lot of golf. Hope we did get some tickets to the Women's College World Series. Always wanted to go. Looks fun. I like college softball. It's a fun game. Coming up in this 5 o'clock hour for the two of us, we've got our 580 Sports Talk headlines here in just a moment. I'm going to make a quick pivot on the playoff roundup, by the way. I think we have to get even beyond KU. We'll talk about KU. I think we have to get to some other college baseball regional scores. There have been a lot of upsets today, or at least teams on upset alert. Milwaukee got into their regional down at Auburn with a losing record and just beat Auburn.
Wow.
Yeah, they have a losing record. They scored 13 runs. That game was some baseball regionals, the Women's College World Series as well during the playoff roundup here during headlines. We'll also preview the weekend set for the Royals, take on the Rangers. We'll get you the starting rotation, the spots in the pitching rotation, I should say, the probable pitchers this weekend. Say that 5 times fast. Probable pitchers. I'll stick at 3. And then we're going to do a little Ask Us Anything at the end of the hour as well. You got any thoughts for us, whether they're sports related, whether they're, I don't know, about life, about Spencer's swimming career, about what I just caught earlier today in Pokemon Go? Yeah, ask us anything. Anything you want. Ask us anything. If it's X-rated, we're not going to say it on the air. Be realistic with that. But we'll get to some Ask Us Anything later on in the hour. Want to give a shout-out to Nathan, who won a pair of tickets to Boots and Bow Ties over at the Topeka Zoo coming up on June 6th. We've got another pair to give away, in fact, coming up during this 5 o'clock hour. Want to reward those of you who are sticking around with us for the end of the show, end of a long work week. Want to have something fun to give to you. So stick around. We've got another pair of tickets to Boots and Bow Ties coming up later on in the show today. We want to hear from you as well. Text line number 785-272-9429. Shout out to the texter who was feeling the anti-SEC rant earlier. Did you say it was a 785 texter we had?
Yes.
Yeah. I speak for the people, at least the people in our neck of the woods. I'm telling you, I am on. I mean, I'm a nerd. B, spend way too much time on the internet, but a fairly popular college football message board, if you will. It's not really a board, a message board, though, if you will. I am always shocked to find out that there are people, usually who represent themselves as SEC fans. You're like, yeah, I only watch SEC games. Like, I think other football is bad. I'm not going to watch it. That's crazy to me. The sport is incredible. So many different styles and flavors and things you'll see every week, and great stuff you're going to see all across the country, whether it's, Power 4, G6, FCS, D2. Certainly, we're in one of the best D2 conferences in America here in the MIAA. And no, if it's not the SEC, it's just bad. Insane to me. They hate you. That's what I'm telling. I'm not trying to incite anything, but they hate you. And that is the truth. You can also drop us a line in the YouTube comments as well. If you haven't subscribed already, go check us out on YouTube. 580 Sports Talk is the name of the YouTube channel. If you don't know how to subscribe, I'm going to tell you right now, it is so easy. You go to youtube.com, just type it in, youtube.com, search, there's a search bar at the top, type in 580 Sports Talk, and we will be, I'm typing it in right now, I'm doing it along with you. We are going to be the first result. There's an ad, but then the first result is our channel. Click on it, and boom, you see all the streams, all the live shows we do, cataloged all the way back to Halloween of 2022, when we first started doing this. You can go back and see all of the live shows, all the different instant reaction videos we've done, all that.
You can go back to the shows where the mic fell or the camera fell in front of me.
Stuff fell on Spencer. Those are very funny for what it's worth. Go subscribe to the channel. You'll know when we go live all the time. We're nearly at 1,000, 979. Incredible from the humble beginnings of our YouTube channels. Thanks to everyone following along there. I don't know why Peter Graves came up at one point in the YouTube comment from our guy, Mark B. I said, I heard Peter Graves talking to one of our other commenters. I don't know where that came from. You're probably too young to have ever seen Biography. I mean, I'm young to have seen Biography on A&E. You ever seen it? Hosted by Peter Graves?
Nope.
I'm Peter Graves. Tonight on Biography, we meet the hosts of 580 Sports Talk, a transcendent program in radio history. I'm Peter Graves. This is Biography.
I can't say it.
Also the subject of many different his movies, many different episodes of Mystery Science Theater, some of my all-time favorites. Biography. All right, anyway, we're getting way off the rails here. Why don't we get to today's 580 Sports Talk headlines? I will lead us off today. Oh, where do we want to go with this for today? Should we start with the playoff roundup?
Why not?
All right, let's do it. We're starting with the playoff roundup. Give me that sounder.
It's time for the 580 Sports Talk Playoff Roundup.
Yeehaw! There's a lot of news today, but not a lot of big news. Not a lot of local stuff. So let's start with the playoff roundup. And Spencer, why don't we start with some college baseball regionals, shall we?
Let's do it.
We already know it went final right before, literally minutes before we went on the air today. But for the first time ever, a regional is being played at Hoagland Ballpark in Lawrence, Kansas. And for the first time since 2014, the Kansas Jayhawks have won a regional game as well. It was close for a while. KU went up big early on Northeastern, got close down to 4-3. Jayhawks packed on 2 runs late, and KU find a great outing from Dominic Bailey of Vaguely, as well as Bodie Ray getting a 2-inning save. KU knocks off Northeastern. So the Jayhawks tomorrow at 5 o'clock will take on the winner of Missouri State and Arkansas. That game is going on at the Hog right now. It is the top of the first, and Mo State already on the board. Bears with an early lead over the Razorbacks, 1-0. That game just getting started. It is on ESPNU if you want to watch. You, Spencer, are going to be there tomorrow for the second day of regionals from the Hog. How excited are you to be there?
I'm really excited. I haven't covered Division I baseball since 2019.
Hell yeah.
Shout out COVID. Ruined everything.
Yeah, God, no kidding. Other games that have gone final, some shockers around. Here's the other regional final from earlier that affects KU, because KU's partner for a super regional is the Atlanta region. That's the number 2 overall seed, Georgia Tech. So if Georgia Tech wins their region, they are going to host a super regional. If Georgia Tech gets knocked out and KU wins its regional, the super comes to Lawrence, which is utterly unfathomable. I do not think that is going to happen. Georgia Tech won its opener today, 22-5.
Yeah, but it did play. Who'd they play?
UIC.
UIC. So,
University of Illinois, Chicago. Who, by the way, has maybe one of the coolest sights in the outfield in college baseball. You just see the Chicago skyline right over center field. It's awesome.
They beat them by what? What was 17?
17.
And UIC came in at literally at 500, I think, 27-1.
It's not great.
So.
A couple other upsets from around the country today. Washington State upset Oregon State. USC upset Oklahoma State. That's a shocker right there. Rider was down 4-0 against Florida. tied the game with a grand slam, then another 2-run shot to go ahead 6-4, but the 8th-seeded Gators came back and beat Rider 8-7. 9th seed Southern Miss, number 9 nationally. They were upset today by Little Rock, 7-4. And we already mentioned one other game that was a major upset, and that is Auburn, which falls at home to Milwaukee, 13-8. Milwaukee has a losing record. Auburn, the number 4 national seed. That's unbelievable. One other game for you, by the way, Spence. Georgia Tech won 22-5. That was not the biggest blowout of the day.
Yeah, no.
Texas knocked off Holy Cross 19-1. Yikes. Let's go to Women's College World Series. That's going on in Oklahoma City right now. I believe
Game starting at 6.
Game starts at 6. Okay. So the games that are going on tonight, UCLA takes on Arkansas. That's the late game. The early game is Texas versus Mississippi State. We already know that Niger Kennedy and Texas Tech won yesterday.
So these are the losers. This is winner go home.
Yes, this is the loser bracket. Tennessee, Alabama, Nebraska also all advanced. So the losers of Texas, Mississippi State, and UCLA, Arkansas, they are out. Elsewhere in postseason play, we've got one game on Frozen Pond tonight. That is Game 5 of the Eastern Conference Finals. Carolina looking to advance on to the Stanley Cup Final to take on Vegas. They lead 3-1 over Montreal. Do the Canadiens have any chance tonight, Spencer?
Shoot the puck.
25 shots on goal in the last 3 games. That's outrageous.
Yeah.
That's what, under 9 a game, barely over 8 a game, 8.3 a game.
Yeah.
In the playoffs. That's crazy. Last night in the NBA, the Spurs blew out the Thunder 118-91. That game was not competitive at all in the second half. The Thunder now in this era, the last 3 years, they're 0-3 in game 6s. They lost game 6 of the NBA Finals last year by 17 points as well. Winner take all on Saturday night in Oklahoma City. Spurs Thunder, who you got?
Ooh. I got Spurs. I hate Thunderball.
Yeah,
I
get
just
it.
thought they would finish it last night. But, yeah, I got Spurs here in 7. I think it's funny how one series went 4, and then the whole world complained, or the whole, industry complained.
Yeah.
Pat McAfee did a whole special because they had free airtime, and this game goes to 7.
It's been awesome.
Come on.
NBC could not have asked for a better series. I think the Thunder are going to win it since they get it at home. I was right about the Spurs last night. I do think the Thunder will get it at home. I would prefer to see the Spurs win, though. I want to see Wemby win a title. All right, that's our playoff roundup. Spencer, what's your first headline for today?
Yes, we knew this was going to happen because it was announced on a Zoom with the GM of the general manager for Kansas State, I believe, or somebody that last week, but Kansas State will renew its in-state rivalry with Wichita State in the Wildcat Classic. It has a date now, location, and Friday, December 11th at the T-Mobile Center in Kansas City. We saw them play in 2023 there. K-State won 69-60 in front of an 18,660 fans. This will be the 14th Wildcat Classic since 2007, with K-State winning 10 of the last 13 classics. So, also interesting note, we were talking about this earlier. K-State is 25-26 all time with the T-Mobile Center,
which I thought seemed crazy, but that also includes the
Big 12
tournament. Yeah, not just individual games there. Speaking of the Big 12, this is a good move by the league, reported earlier today by The Athletic, is that the Big 12 is going to bring audio from the review process to their TV broadcasts this fall. The ACC did this with their ESPN games this past year, and fans loved it. The UFL also does this, where you get to actually hear and see what's going on in the review room. And the Big 12 is going to do that this fall as well. This from Chris Vanini of The Athletic. The Big 12 will let viewers watch and listen to the live replay review conversations during select, so not all, select football games this fall, providing a look inside the officiating process. The move was approved by the conference's presidents on Friday, 1 year after the ACC and ESPN began to do this for some games, along with the UFL. Brett Yormark said at the Big 12 meetings down in Frisco, Commissioner Jim Phillips and the ACC were the first movers collegiately. They did a hell of a job. We took that idea and said, boy, it's transferable to the Big 12. The greater transparency into the process helps fans understand, and that's good for the sport, said Scott Draper. He is the Big 12 chief football and competition officer. It's good when everyone can see we have a tight, difficult call, what that decision-making was, and the angles we had. Love it. How could you possibly complain about this?
Yeah.
I love this. Get to know, why did they determine why this is? What angles did they see? Who said what in the room? How did we get to this point? Awesome. Absolutely love that. Good for everybody and good for the Big 12. Next for you, Spencer.
Yes, we have a potential new franchise in baseball. Sacramento. They're currently hosting the A's, the Athletics. They're home right now in the AAA minor league ballpark, which on a Wednesday, I was watching a video on this, got 9,000 fans. And there's a news story, and the fans were reacting to the fact that Sacramento is pushing to try for an expansion team. They had this whole big press event and all this stuff. And then I went and looked at the Padres. The Padres had 35,000 on a Wednesday afternoon. So 9,000 versus 35,000 is a lot.
Well, it is. Now, the problem for Sacramento, one, is it's not their team. They know they're just the buffer, which is tough. Also, it's a smaller stadium. Yeah. I mean, it is literally a minor league stadium. So that was earlier this week. And then today, I saw news as well. This is coming from the Central Florida Times that Orlando is also pushing to get an expansion team. So the Tampa
Bay, we need 3 Florida teams.
Okay, so that's what I'm getting to here. So Tampa is looking for a new stadium. The Rays are looking for a new stadium. And it feels more and more like they eventually will get one in Tampa instead of moving elsewhere in the state to Orlando. So again, this from the Central Florida Times. As the Tampa Bay Rays continue negotiating a stadium deal in Tampa, Orlando's bid for Major League Baseball is quietly building traction. The Orlando Dreamers, a grassroots group seeking to bring a franchise to Central Florida, have spent recent months building public support, expanding community outreach, and strengthening political connections in hopes of landing either an expansion team or a relocated franchise. So those two, Sacramento and now Orlando, join a crowded list that also includes Nashville, Montreal, Salt Lake City, and Charlotte as cities that are trying to get an expansion baseball team. If you gave me all of those cities, Spencer, so that would be 1, 2, 3, 4, 6 now that are genuinely interested and have actual committees to get an expansion team, not only would I put Orlando last, I would make up other cities and put them also ahead of Orlando. Stop putting baseball in Florida. This experiment is not working. The Rays have been good, and no one goes to their games. Miami has always struggled with attendance. Stop with Florida baseball. We're done.
On top of that, they get literally the tourism from spring training.
Yeah, I'm done with it. Stop with Florida baseball. We're done. The Rays and the Marlins are enough, and those experiments have barely worked up to this point. The Marlins have multiple World Series, and no one wants to go see them.
Yeah.
And it's not a matter of not having baseball fans. You've seen videos from when they hosted World Baseball Classic games in Miami. It is packed to the gills. Sorry for the fish joke. No one wants to go see the Marlins. No one wants to go see the Rays. Oh, well, it's hard to get to the ballgame. It's not that hard to get to the Marlins games, and no one wants to go. Stop with Florida baseball. Sacramento, I'm willing to listen. If I had to
There's still too many teams in California, man. Come on.
Yeah, California is a hard bargain. I'd still rather one be there than Florida.
I would go based on this list, right? That you listed off: Sacramento, Orlando, Nashville, Montreal, Salt Lake City, Charlotte. I would go 1 Charlotte, 2 Nashville, 3 Salt Lake. for Sacramento.
I would love to see a team go back to Montreal. I'd love for the Expos to come back. It's just, it ended so poorly. I don't know that baseball would be willing to do that. And plus, I don't think the Blue Jays would want that. They own Canada.
Yeah.
I don't think they would be thrilled with that. I think Nashville's got a pretty good chance. I actually know someone who's on the committee, the Nashville Stars committee, to bring baseball to a major league team to Nashville. I think they probably have a good chance. I think Charlotte's got a good chance. Salt Lake City, the whole Utah population is exploding.
Yeah.
There are so many people in Utah now. And there's money there for it. I would not be shocked if Salt Lake got one. But that's also the desert. I don't know that you want to put a summer sport at the major league level in the desert. They have a AAA team. So does Nashville as well. And so does Charlotte.
Yeah,
they've got the Knights.
I think the most logical one's Charlotte.
Yeah, because outside of Florida, the South has the Braves.
Yeah.
And that's it. Charlotte would make a lot of sense. The Braves, though, they love their monopoly. So I think baseball will expand eventually, but I do think it's going to take a while to get to that point.
I think Charlotte's perfect point because you got a lot of college baseball fans. Like,
sure.
I feel like that's a whole rich area for
baseball.
Yeah.
No, there's no doubt about that. Any other headlines you want to get to here before we wrap it up?
No.
I wanted to very quickly mention just a couple ones here. Four-time Stanley Cup champion Claude Lemieux died at the age of 60. According to police, suicide, the cause. Very, very sad news out of Palm Beach County. Claude Lemieux, four-time champion. He was just at a game the other night supporting Montreal. Very, very sad stuff. So best wishes and condolences and prayers to the family of Claude Lemieux. Also, we went to a spell off in the spelling bee this week, and Shrey Parekh was our winner of the 2026 Scripps National Spelling Bee. He set 32 words in 90 seconds correctly spelled. That is a record for the shootout style spell off, which has been used since 2022 if there's a tie at the end of the spelling bee. Shrey was able to outlast Ishan Gupta in the lightning round to win the Scripps spelling bee. They were using like Welsh words and French words. That seems wrong to me. You should have to stick with English, in my opinion. But I don't think I would be able to win the spelling bee, whether you used like first grade words, if those were all the ones you could spell. That does it for today's 580 Sports Talk headlines. Coming up later on this hour, we've got an Ask Us Anything. If you want to know anything about me and Spencer, shoot us a text, drop a comment in the YouTube feed. We will get to as many of those as we can. And also, on the other side of this break, we're talking some Royals baseball, previewing the weekend set against the Rangers. That's on the other side of this break. This is 580 Sports Talk. 5:31 on 580 Sports Talk. Now 5:32. I'm Brendan Dworzinski. That is Spencer Dupuis. We're going to do a little Ask Us Anything coming up later on this hour. Don't make it, X-rated, R-rated, but would be happy to answer your other questions that are FCC compliant for air. Drop them to us on the text line or in the YouTube comments. We'll get to as many as we can later on this hour. We've got some Royals to get to as well. Spencer, I think we should give away some tickets first, though.
Let's do it.
We got another pair of tickets for Boots and Bow Ties at the Topeka Zoo coming up on June 6th. We gave away to caller number 5 earlier. Let's make it a little easier. And, well, not easier. This is actually harder because you've got to really have the fastest finger going. Our number, 785-272-9429. Caller number 2. Caller number 2, you are getting our second pair of tickets to Boots and Bow Ties. Live music, bourbon tasting, and wild fun under the stars coming up on the night of the this coming Friday. Excuse me, I misspoke. This coming Friday, June 5th, over at the Topeka Zoo. So we will get your information with Spencer. I believe we have our winning caller in right now. Those tickets will be available for you here at the station coming up next week. We'll be able to have them for you. Office hours are closed right now. We're the last ones here. Us two and Greg, we're the only ones still here in the building. Everyone else has gone home on this Friday afternoon. Royals baseball to get to before our Ask Us Anything. Taking on the Rangers this weekend. Royals, I think, would do pretty much anything at this point to win a game or, I don't know, look competent. The Rangers are not having a much better season than the Royals. They're 2.5 games out in the West. Nobody in the West is above 500. The Mariners lead that division. They're 28-29. Half a game up on the A's. 2.5 up on the Astros, 2.5 up on the Rangers, who are 25-31, and that is still 3 games better than the Kansas City Royals. Unfortunately, the Guardians are just doing the thing they always do. Wow, does this team have that many good players? Doesn't matter. They're 3 games up in the division. They're 10 games up on the Royals. And what had been the Comedy Central for most of this year, well, it's turning into a laugher for the Guardians. Again, they've got some distance between them and the White Sox here as we wrap up the month of May this weekend. Royals are not last in the division. They're a half a game up on the Detroit Tigers. Is it fair to say that the most disappointing team in the American League is the Tigers?
Yeah.
I mean, the Red Sox are a disappointment as well. No one in the West, they all stink. But, that's it. The Tigers and Royals had legit division-winning hype and expectations, and they are in the basement of the Central right now. God, the Guardians are such a frustrating team. The Rangers not all that great either. Your pitching matchups for this weekend, the Rangers are actually bringing in so much former prospect hype with their starting rotation this weekend. So tonight's matchup, it's a 7:05 first pitch. We've got a little 580 Sports Talk overtime to get to as we go into the final hour of the show tonight, or into the final hour before Royals baseball tonight. This evening, it is Stephen Kolek on the mound for the Royals. Mackenzie Gore going for the Rangers.
He sucks now, by the way.
Former Washington National.
Yeah, I think the Nats won that trade.
3-4 record, 4.42 ERA. I mean, that's not that bad. How's Nationals pitching?
I mean, they're better.
We're going to audit this while we have a moment.
I meant the trade. I'm talking about the trade. I'm pretty sure they won the trade.
What did they get for him?
A bunch of prospects.
Okay. Right now, there are only 4 guys who have qualified for the Nationals right now. Okay, if you throw in Paxton Schultz, I'm sorry. No, you throw in Miles Mikolas. He has appeared in 12 games. He has started 6. So if you say Miles Mikolas, Jake Irvin, Zach Littell, Cade Cavalli, and Foster Griffin, if you say those are the 5 starters for the Nationals, Mackenzie Gore has a better ERA than 3 of them.
Yeah.
Just giving Spencer a hard time. That's your matchup tonight. Kolek versus Gore. Tomorrow night, Seth Lugo versus Kumar Rocker, former number 1 overall pick. And then Jack Leiter, who was also a 1st or 2nd overall pick, I believe. He goes up against Michael Wacha. So, look, if you're the Royals, this is the threesome you want, right? Kolek, Lugo, and Wacha. Of the guys who are available right now, those are the 3 you want going. You're facing a team that's not very good. It's indoors. Do you have any hope at all that the Royals can win the series or win a game in the series? I think so.
Yeah.
I think so. I hope so. I'm kind of tired of this team being absolute garbage.
I mean, look, Sunday, they just got to hit for sure. They can win a game on Sunday. They just got to hit.
Do you trust that they're going to hit?
I don't know.
The Royals also, I pulled this stat a little bit earlier. They are 6th worst in Major League Baseball in terms of hard hit percentage allowed. They got too many soft tossers out there. With no Reagans, obviously that's going to skew the numbers. And it's been a long time since we've seen Reagans at this point. 6th worst in the majors at hard hit percentage allowed. That's unfortunate against the Rangers, who are 4th in hard hit percentage as an offense. They do hit the ball really hard. The Royals give up a lot of those. Not exactly a recipe for success. Again, these are your 3 best pitchers right now. I don't know if you'd say that about Kolek over the course of 162 games, but he was great last time. He's been decent. 3-0 with a 2.77 ERA. I can live with that number for right now. The Royals, for what it's worth, they hit the ball hard as well. They're 6th in the majors in terms of hard hit percentage. That's just 2 spots behind the Rangers. Only 5 teams better than the Royals in that regard. It hasn't mattered to this point. Certainly didn't matter over the last 2 games when they got outscored 22-1. I can't get over it. It's just so frustrating. Your lineup for the Royals this evening
changes.
Lane Thomas leads off. Bobby Witt Jr., as usual, he's hitting second, playing short. Michael Garcia, he is at third base, hitting third, so he drops a little bit. I don't hate that necessarily. Salvador Perez, he's behind the dish tonight. He's your cleanup hitter. Starling Marte hitting fifth as your DH. Sure. Vinny Pasquantino hitting sixth. He's at first. Nick Lofton, he's at second base tonight in the 7-hole. Cags in right field. He is hitting eighth. Kyle Isbell mans center field. He is in the 9-hole, all in support of Stephen Kolek. Royals also made a roster move earlier today. Nick Mears going on the injured list with a right shoulder impingement. Are you heartbroken about that? No Nick Mears for a while?
No, I'm not. But I got a couple things to say about the lineup.
Eric Sarantola, by the way, he's coming up in place of Nick Mears. Okay, go ahead with your lineup thoughts.
It's a lefty, and Cags is in the lineup again.
Good.
Let's go.
I'm glad they've learned.
Also, according to Ann Rogers, I don't know. I'm assuming she's talked to Q about this, but she said with the lineup changes, the idea is more about hitting Garcia in front of Salvi to get Garcia in motion more on the bases.
Sure.
Clearly, they're looking for a spark to get going.
I think that's fair.
Yeah.
I think that's an entirely fair way to view this. I wanted to touch on this real quick, by the way. I mentioned it when we talked to Trenton Kraxner at the top of the 4 o'clock hour today. But a piece over at Royals Review this morning from Connor Moylan is just titled "The Royals Are Wasting a Great Bobby Witt Jr. Season." It's worth a read. It's good stuff from Connor.
Sounds like something Dan would say.
Yeah.
Has said on this program.
And it's what I was trying to illustrate yesterday when I was talking about how you can't make this a fire sale season because you can't tear everything down to the studs while you've got a superstar like that. And this final graph really, I think, sums up what I was thinking. And again, this from Connor Moylan at Royals Review. I don't want to ignore or take for granted the great season that Witt is having so far, and I don't want the Royals to either. Each year Witt is on the Royals, the team should be trying to compete for a spot in the postseason. While this year is technically not lost yet, it certainly is on life support. If the team can save the season, then great, but if not, the front office needs to figure out how to not let another superstar effort from Witt go to waste. Well put. Very well put. We had our pal Clayton in the YouTube comments yesterday who was saying, look, man, with a lockout looming, if you're not going to lose the whole season, you're probably going to lose some amount of games next year. You wanted to make this a year where you go on a run with Witt and push all your chips in before you know what hits the fan. Unfortunately, things have not quite turned out that way this year for the Kansas City Royals. Real quick, before we get to our next commercial break, we've got another winner. Congratulations to Danielle of Barryton. All right, Danielle, you and a friend, a partner, a spouse, whoever, are going to Boots and Bow Ties coming up next weekend at the Topeka Zoo. You heard the commercial for it during our last ad break as well. It's all for a good cause, for conservation, live music, bourbon. You're a bourbon guy, aren't you?
Yeah.
Yeah, you're a bourbon guy. What's your go-to bourbon?
Go-to bourbon, Buffalo Trace.
Buffalo Trace. Okay. Is that?
But if I want to be exquisite,
okay, exquisite.
Blanton's.
Blanton's. All right.
Blanton's is very rare in Kansas.
Okay. The East Coast.
No, it's
batch?
they have this thing called allocation.
You've told me about this.
And
okay. Yeah.
Kansas is one of like 12 states that still allocates things, which is funny because so you can't find it a lot. Like
okay.
It's not readily available. So like in Missouri, it's readily available.
Mm-hmm.
You can go to your favorite liquor store and find a big bottle of Buffalo Trace. Like I go to Costco and buy it there in Missouri.
Get that wholesale stuff right there.
But you can't find it here unless you, like some places you go and ask them. Like I have this place where I go up to the counter and be like, hey, you guys got any in stock? And they go back to the back room.
Sure.
Pull it out. There it is.
There we go. I have never had bourbon, so I couldn't tell you. I also go to Buffalo Trace or would love Blanton's if I wanted to be exquisite. Love the word choice, exquisite. That's great. So shout out to Danielle who won that pair of tickets and Nathan for winning earlier. Tickets can be picked up here at the station coming up next week. We're going to go to another commercial break here. When we come back, we're going to do some Ask Us Anything. Text it, 785-272-9429. Drop a comment in the YouTube as well. Anything you want, sports, life, whatever it is. We've got a few in. We'll take all your questions coming up to wrap up this 5 o'clock hour of 580 Sports Talk next. A little Ask Us Anything to wrap up this week on 580 Sports Talk. I'm Brendan. That's Spencer. All right, we've got a couple questions in here on the YouTube. Spence, we'll start with one for you from Mark B. Do you and Olivia get out much in Topeka? Where's your favorite place to go out when you're in Topeka?
Ooh, Iron Rail.
Good call.
That's great. We love Iron Rail. Johnny's.
Our buddy Triple G was in the YouTube earlier saying he was at Iron Rail earlier today.
Yeah, that's our favorite, like, go-to. We want a nice dinner.
Yeah.
Like, if we're going out for an occasion, it's usually Iron Rail.
Sure.
We need to get on this, trying all these Mexican restaurant trends.
Yeah.
We're so used to, like, just making our own food,
sure.
Cooking our own, having Taco Tuesday or whatever. So we need to get on this. Like, we need to go to these places. I've been here for 2 years and I haven't had any that's a lie. We went to the one up in Hunter's Ridge.
Sure.
That Mexican joint. That's the only Mexican joint we've had.
Topeka's got a lot of them.
I know.
When Dan gets back, well, I'm sure you've heard from him. His suggestions.
He told me the other day, he's like, I guess you're not listening to my suggestions because on Monday or Tuesday, we drove through Oakland.
Yeah.
And he goes, well, I guess you never listen to my Mexican suggestion because whatever the name of the Mexican restaurant's over there.
It's not, the fanciest place ever. We love Mexican taco shop. When my wife was pregnant, oh man, we ate a lot of it. In fact, that was when we were in the hospital. We, after our kiddo was born, the first 2 dinners we had, one was Mexican taco shop and one was Bobo's. And frankly, that sounds incredible. And I would eat either tonight. We're having pizza tonight, but oh man, that sounds good.
We're having pizza too.
Look at that. Look at that synergy. One from me from Mark B as well. How's the kiddo doing? She's great. Thank you for asking, Mark. She is huge. She will turn 18 months next Saturday. The same day that Dan's kiddo, Asher, turns 2, which is so funny. Yeah, she's huge. She's talkative. She loves to run around. Loves to say bye-bye to everything. She says hi to things now. Our next door neighbors have a dog that she loves. The across the street neighbors have dogs and a cat. The cat just walks over every morning on our way to daycare. Boy, she loves petting that cat. Yeah, it's something new every day. She's it's unbelievable. Every single day, just absolutely fantastic with her. Another one here for me from Mark H. How am I feeling about the Packers as an owner this coming year? I think Packers are being underrated. I don't know, don't deserve to be one of the biggest favorites to make it to the Super Bowl, but I feel like people forgot the Packers had a top 6 offense last year and tons of explosive plays. And our 3 major contributors who got hurt are all coming back at some point early in the season. So feel like it's been kind of overlooked this year, but that's fine.
How about the running game?
You gonna suit up? we might need a running back at some point. Yeah, it's not great. I know he hasn't been officially charged yet, but I'm over it. I'll pass on that. I think I've asked you before. What is your? Because now I'm thinking about Mexican food. What's your order? If you were at any given place and okay, here's your list of enchiladas or fajitas or burrito, whatever. What's your main Mexican order?
Either loaded nachos or quesadilla.
Quesadilla, just like a cheese quesadilla, or
no, a meat quesadilla.
Okay,
yeah.
I'm an enchilada guy. You give me a choice, I'm taking an enchilada. Well, not a single enchilada. I want a whole freaking plate of them. My wife makes really good enchiladas as well. Who cooks more? You or Olivia?
Olivia. Only because we get home after 6:00 and she's always like, I'm hungry. I don't want to wait for you to come home.
Yeah, no, I get that. I bet you right into 5:51. Oh yeah, my wife and kid are done eating already. They're done. There's leftovers for me, but oh yeah, they're done eating already.
Yeah, if Olivia had her way, she would eat without me.
What's her ideal eating time?
Probably 5:15, 5:30.
If not for me, I think Abby would eat at 4:00. She loves early dinner. I would eat it. I'll eat at 9. Sure.
Next week, I believe Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, the Royals have 6:10 games.
Oh,
so we're off at 5:30. And I told Olivia that yesterday, and she was like, so we can eat dinner at a real normal time? Because we're not eating dinner till 6:45 now.
Yeah. That's when we used to eat dinner. I'd get off from the show. I would drive, when we lived in Lawrence specifically, I'd hop on the road, drive the speed limit exactly, I'd get home like 6:35, 6:40, and we would eat. And my wife, an incredible cook and incredibly nicer than I deserve, would often have dinner just ready. Like, all right, let's roll. And that was great. It was a great time to eat dinner. Now, though, my kid gets home from daycare. My wife brings her in about 4:30. Don't have much longer than that until she's starving. So we eat at 5.
Well, then you gotta put her down early. So
yeah, well, she's got an early bedtime.
Yeah.
I hear stories. Britt Z, former producer and now the afternoon host over on 94.5. He was telling me the other day, like, his kids just don't sleep. Like, yeah, kid was going to bed at like 10. Well, his older one just like doesn't have sleep is difficult. Dan has shared the stories of the difficult times sleeping. My kiddo is, thank God, a good sleeper, but man, it's like early. Like, it's early. Like, she is out often at like 7 at night.
Wow.
So we got lots of time after that. My wife, though, she works hard, certainly harder than me, my bum ass. She is also tired. So she's done usually right around like 9 o'clock as well. By the way, Mark B mentions barbecue nacho spread. That sounds pretty good.
Yeah, I'm a big barbecue nacho guy. So like, if you take me to a barbecue joint, I'm gonna get an app as like brisket nachos or something.
See, I'm not a nacho guy. I'm not. No shade at our guy Mark here. I'm not a nacho guy.
I'm not a nacho cheese guy.
Mm-hmm.
Like Olivia loves like ball game nachos, the little clear thing with the bag of chips. Not me. You got to give me some shredded cheese, and we melt the shredded cheese. Like, that's it for me.
Yeah, my wife really likes. I don't know. Give me something hard. I want something hearty. I want something like big and thick for every meal. And we're going to leave it right there. We've got to get to one more time out here on 580 Sports Talk. We'll come back with a final word to wrap things up here on this Feel Good Friday afternoon. Been a great week of 580 Sports Talk. Time to wrap it up with the final word. Spencer Dupuis, take us home.
Yeah, I am excited this weekend to go to Lawrence to check out the regional. Missouri State on top of Arkansas 2-0 here in the middle of the third inning. So I'm kind of hoping it's KU Missouri State.
I'm just so
I don't want to see the fans. I just don't want to deal with it of Arkansas if they get in.
I'm so sick of Arkansas beating KU and everything. Yeah. I'm just so sick of KU playing Arkansas in everything. I'll go there with my final word as well. What Dave Fitzgerald's done with this KU team is absolutely incredible. What a way to ring in the first ever regional in Lawrence to knock off Northeastern today, 6-3. Great all-around team win for KU. They move on to tomorrow at 5 o'clock. However this season ends, I hope that team is proud of themselves because I know KU certainly is of that KU baseball team. What an awesome scene. Enjoy it. If you're going Spencer, you enjoy it. Thank you for joining us all week long for 580 Sports Talk. If you missed any of the show, you can go find it, on our YouTube channel, the video version of the show, 580 Sports Talk on YouTube, or search 580 Sports Talk on Spotify. That's right. The podcast of the show available around the world in your pocket, on your desktop, on your tablet, wherever. Just go to Spotify and search 580 Sports Talk. We're back on Monday with the whole crew. For Dan, for Spencer Dupuis, I'm Brendan Dworzynski. We've got 580 Sports Talk overtime coming up next. We've got Royals baseball tonight here on the Sports Voice of Kansas, 580 WIBW. Enjoy the weekend.